Welcome, Raptor fans, to a very special and completely random edition of what we're going to call Trade Fridays. No, we're not going to make this a regular thing, but I felt this would be a cool way to sort of let loose of some of this tension that's been going on in this fan base right now. Um, let's talk about this. So, first and foremost, I'm going to take you through where I think the Raptors are, just schedule wise, team building wise. A lot of people think that the Raptors have two timelines that they have to pick one. I may or may not necessarily agree with that. And then we're going to explore four possible pathways forward, and they're going to roughly fit into. By the way, can someone tell me my audio's all right? Can someone let me know in the thing? There's like some pipes running close to me here, so I just want to let me know in the comments if my audio's all right. So basically, the four pathways forward. First, where are we? We are 2 games under 500, right? And while some people would say that, hey, this is to be expected, the Raptors have missed a ton of people. But, while we were losing games initially, there was a lot of talk about, well, when Pascal Siakam comes back, it's going to be all right. But then, now you lose OG. And now there's talk about, well, look at how important Precious and Otto are to all of this, right? A defender off the bench. You're struggling with the pick and roll coverages. How much would Precious shore that up? You got out rebounded last game. How much would Precious have helped in there? I get it. But this is the NBA. Check around the league. Every team that follows one team, every fan base that follows one team thinks that their team is being ravaged by injuries. But look around the league. A lot of teams are being ravaged by injuries. The Raptors are probably on the higher end of it, but still, I mean, this is a part of the game. You have to play. The Golden State Warriors are going to be playing without Steph Curry for the next few weeks. So, case in point. So, I think the Raptors do have to make a decision, and the schedule is not going to help. Thaddeus Young is on record saying that the Raptors may not win another game until New Year's. I think he said it as a veteran trying to evoke a sense of urgency, but this is a team that is 2 games under 500. The other elephant in the room is there's a play-in tournament now, and a lot of these teams that are struggling happen to have some pretty proven playoff performers. Jimmy Buckets, right? I mean, there's that guy. The Miami Heat are struggling right now. There are a lot of teams. The Atlanta Hawks, I mean, their offense is a dumpster fire. Do you really want to take on Trae Young in a do or die one game mano a mano with Pascal Siakam? I don't think that works out too well for you. So for me, and I think what the Raptors said internally was this year it's second round or bust. We need to see if this core can do that. And second round or bust means that you need to avoid slots 7 and 8, which means no play-in. Because I hate to break it to you, Raptor fans, no matter how good Scottie Barnes becomes this year, it's like we have very little shot against Milwaukee or Boston. These teams are great, and I encourage you to watch them and how they're playing right now. It's not fun, especially when that team has home court advantage and both teams are dominant at home. So the Raptors need to make it to 5, and they may very quickly have a pathway to 12th before they have a pathway to 5. So I think there is a sense of urgency in this fan base to, let's do something. Let's shake it up. So I'm going to take you through the 4, I would call it trade paradigms or ideas that I have. Number 1, stay the course. Be patient. We're used to this with Masai Ujiri. Very infamous and sometimes famous for playing the long game. I appreciate that about him. Sometimes it makes me a little bit irritated because I think that something's not working, but he gives things time. He gives time, to quote Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet said sometimes we don't give time. Pascal, Masai Ujiri has built this roster with the expectation that it would be competitive. He hasn't necessarily seen it gel completely for a 2-week, 3-week stretch. We have no idea how good this team could be. We have no idea. So there's that option. Option 2, lateral move. Kind of like what we did with Gary Trent Jr. and Norman Powell. Just a little bit of shakeup. You trade a player who's kind of the writings on the wall in one situation for writings on the wall in another situation. For us, that might be sort of what you guys are thinking when you pitch Jakob Poeltl and Gary Trent Jr., things like this. I mean, this is one guy who's probably not in the complete long-term plans for us, and maybe a guy who's not completely in the long-term plans for San Antonio. Third, blow it up. Blow it up. Mortgage the past. Those champions that you have so much attachment to, that have such a place in our hearts, mortgage it for a reset, future, draft picks, young assets, whatever it is. We don't really have any bad contracts, guys. That's a good thing. We don't have any bad contracts. There's no $40 million contract that we're looking to unload and desperately. We have all our draft picks too, and I don't want to get rid of them because I love what this team does with draft picks. So there's that option, the doomsday device option. And, you basically turn the keys over to Scottie and OG and your young core, and you say, okay, try to sneak into the play-in. Now it's acceptable. Now the expectation has been reset. The timeline has been reset. You're no longer even thinking about it. Guys, hold the comments. I'm not going to be able to scroll back. So if you're commenting trade ideas, you're going to have to re-comment them later because I'm not going to be able to scroll back. I'm just in my zone right now. Give me 1 minute. The final option, and perhaps an option that will show a little bit of faith, is you mortgage the future for the present because you believe in the present. You have such a belief in Pascal Siakam as a playoff performer, Fred VanVleet returning to his pre-injury self, Scottie Barnes taking a step that we all hope and think that he can take, hopefully. Some of us don't think that he will ever take that step. Some of us have been ranting that Pascal, that Scottie Barnes is basically glorified, Reggie Evans with better passing. That's crazy. That's legitimately crazy. But I'm gonna stay off that. You mortgage some part of your future to shore up the present. What does that look like? Well, maybe it looks like, I feel bad for Malachi Flynn, man, because any package that Raptor fans want to suggest, Malachi is always going out. All right. That's kind of your Malachi, Gary, Kem, plus future first, plus another first for something substantial right now. What is that something substantial? So those are sort of where I land on those 4 type of trades. Now, here's how this is going to work. Okay. I'm not a general manager. I'm not a president. I have never worked for a front office in the league, full disclosure. However, I do keep very abreast with the league. I follow everything. Basketball is sort of an obsession of mine. I have a good grasp of what teams are looking to do in terms of their front office direction. And so what I would like to do is I would like to eliminate any possibility that I'm going to turn on Reddit or Twitter and find a trade proposal from a Raptor fan saying, can we get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for Gary Trent Jr.? I don't want to see any more of that. So the show is basically a reality check, but also a really fun exercise in what are teams looking to do. Hopefully it's a way for us, all of us, to learn a little bit more about what other teams are doing and what other people are thinking. I'll be fair. I promise I'll be fair. I'm not going to be a Scottie homer. You're not going to be able to offer me Giannis for Scottie, you know what I mean? Like, so the way this is going to work is, it's going to be hard. There's a lot of comments coming up. My suggestion to you, if you have a half decent mic on your phone, the best way to make sure that I see it, because guys, when I watch these chat replays after, I'm like, oh my God, there's like 5,000 comments. They scroll so fast, guys. So the best way to do this is to look in the description, right? And to just call in. If you have a phone, if you have a laptop, half decent mic, you don't have to come on camera. If you don't want to come on camera, it's nice if you come on camera. It's nice to put a face, but you don't have to come on camera. Just pitch me quick, and don't worry about matching salaries exactly, but don't offer me like a rookie for LeBron James type of deal. Like let's keep it somewhat close. And obviously teams work within this framework, and then they match salaries after they find third teams, etc. But just as a concept of trade value. Okay, first up, we got Chad. So guys, the link is in the description below. If you want to call in, you have a trade offer, let me know. There's 3 of you now waiting, so that's a good, healthy amount. Hopefully there'll be more of you. So first up, Chad, you are the Toronto Raptors. Who am I today?
You're going to be Mr. Langdon from the New Orleans Pelicans.
Ooh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy right now. I love my job.
Of course you do. And, one thing you're going to be going into the playoffs with is you need a bit of experience in order to take it all the way. And I know you're in a win now mode. So what I'm offering you is a formal playoff MVP voted in Fred VanVleet. Now, in return, I know right now you're going all in. I'm not asking for too much, but I'm going to try and make this salary match up. I'm going to take Devontae Graham salary off your hands. You don't have to worry about him anymore. I'm not asking for much. I'm going to take a very small filler with Temple, Garrett Temple, not too much. But I am looking for Dyson Daniels. So really what I'm trying to trade right now is ready for Dyson Daniels and some salary cap. And man, just fix it up for you because I know that you are really high on Dyson Daniels. I'm also offering a first round swap. You're going to be up too high in the first round. We scout well with we'll take a later pick for your pick. We'll do a swap for first. Just go through.
That is a very well thought out offer. Unfortunately, Fred VanVleet that you're offering me, and I understand that he was a hell of a playoff performer, but I do have a man by the name of Jose Alvarado, and I do not foresee those two playing together ever. So that's one. Number two, if I were to work with you on a Fred deal, I mean, I value CJ McCollum's leadership a lot, but I see myself having a glut of guards now, and all of whom are win now. I'm not sure you're giving me much. I understand that Fred VanVleet is a considerably better defender right now than CJ McCollum, but come playoff time, I don't like his averages. I don't like his contract situation that he's going to be demanding a crazy amount of money. So if I'm basically betting against myself here, if he does well, I have to pay him or lose him. If he doesn't do well, I've given you what I believe is probably a future all-star or fringe all-star for 1 year of a guy on the wrong side of 28 at 6 foot tall. I don't know. You're the only way I can even think about entertaining this is if you give me. Is there someone else you like other than Dyson Daniels?
Oh, you know I'm going for Dyson.
Well, I mean, what if I tell you you can't have Dyson? What if I tell you that you could have Herb Jones?
Oh.
But you will have to add your 2023 first and a 2025 pick swap. Now I'm at least, I mean, I'm not great with it, but you know what? No, I don't want Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet and Jose Alvarado, I don't like this match. I love Jose Alvarado. He's a culture setter for us. Fred's a culture setter for you. I know this guy wants to get paid. I don't want him hijacking my offense. You got anyone else you want to trade? I've talked myself out of it. I'm sorry. 36%. I can't do it. I love the guy. He's great. Analytics tell me he's great, but analytics tell me that Dyson Daniels is going to be like really good player, and you don't seem to want to move off of him. If you're willing to give me Fred VanVleet and I can salvage whatever is left of his season for not Dyson Daniels, yeah, then you know maybe I can give you picks in that case. I could give you like a very heavily protected 2027 first rounder and scraps.
Yeah, that might be the best you can get out of it, but I wouldn't take it.
You wouldn't take it? Okay. Call me back later, man.
All right, take care, bud.
See ya. Okay. I you know, all right. Next up, we got Augustin. Who am I today, sir?
How you doing?
I'm good.
It's been only a couple of days.
It has only been a couple of days.
Yeah. So
who am I today?
So yeah, one, I was gonna say I don't have a trade idea, but I wanted to look at this from conceptually a bit, from the standpoint that you said was one is a couple of things. So roster construction is an issue, and that can be addressed by a trade potentially. But we also have issues with coaching philosophy and schemes, and Nick Nurse has always been running this team ragged. And the issue is so you can have the correct roster. Like But what about the offensive strategy? Like tinkering around the roster or even changing like one major player.
If you have any doubts, that Nick Nurse can coach an offense, I suggest you go back and you look in your archives, Masai Ujiri, Bobby Webster, whoever you are right now talking to me, and I would suggest that you look at the 2018-2019 run, and I suggest you also look at the teams you had before that, because Nick Nurse has been a part of your coaching staff and your culture for the last almost 10 years now. I think he can coach offense. I know he can coach offense, actually. He's a very smart guy. Why he's choosing to coach the way he's coaching, or the offensive structure you have right now under Trevor Gleason, why it's not working, a lot of it has to do with how dominant and how schemy and how moneyball you guys are trying to play on defense right now. And that's how I would see it. There's a trade-off, guys.
Defensive strategy viable? Is a defense viable? Because the defense doesn't seem sustainable. This amount of putting this much effort and this much effort in schemes and so on and so forth on defense, because they're not protecting the three, they're not protecting the rim.
It is, but unfortunately right now, look, NBA games are won on a margin. If you look at the average team, they're losing by like 3 to 4 points. I mean, very few teams are losing by more than 3 to 4 points. So really the difference over the course of the season is making 1 or 2 more threes in a game and you win the game, right? So at the end of the day, you need to look at your shooters right now. Which of your shooters is shooting a career average? You can argue whatever reason that might be. Pascal Siakam is shooting like crazy bad percentages. OG Anunoby, wrist, Fred VanVleet, back. I mean, you basically got an operation table of basketball players right now. Precious Achiuwa was 39% last year. I don't know why I know so much about your team, by the way. I don't know who I am right now as a general manager, but I happen to know a lot about your team. I follow them very, very closely. Big Scottie Barnes fan. Shout outs to Scottie Barnes. But I got to say, like, I think you guys are just, look, one of the things I'll say to anyone out there panicking right now, because you're like, is it sustainable? Look, we have, despite the dog shit, pick and roll defense right now, we have a top 11, 12 defense in the NBA. And it's really difficult for your defense to sustain that level of excellence when your offense is so bad. Let me explain. What happens when you miss a shot? The other team runs in transition, right?
Yeah.
You never get to set up your half-court defense. Now, what's happening on the other end? The other team's making a lot of shots. They always get to set up their half-court defense. You're gaming against yourself because you can't hit shots. You hit 2 or 3 more shots. I know that's asking for a lot, right? Even if you could get better shots. Let me give you an example. Chris Boucher driving to the rim, seeking contact, falling out of bounds, not getting back. That compromises your defense. So offense and defense work on a string, very connected. So this idea of, well, this team's great defensively, but they're shit offensively, it's always connected. Holistically, any coach worth their weight in salt would tell you these things are very connected. So I think that until the shots start falling, you don't know if this defense could be a top 5 defense. But I will tell you that the personnel on this team, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Scottie Barnes, Fred VanVleet, if he's healthy, even Gary Trent Jr. can work within a scheme of a defense. I don't want him starting, but he can. Precious Achiuwa, Christian Koloko. This entire team is constructed of plus defenders. There isn't another team like it in the league. I mean, you can say the Magic are huge, but Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner are shit defenders. They're not good defenders at all. So I'm saying if you're worried about the offense being really bad, I think a lot of it has to do with defense. Your defense having to overcompensate for shots not falling. And shots not falling is a high variance thing, guys. There are guys who shoot 25% for 1 month and 57% in another month. If you want to know the craziness of variance, I think Scottie Barnes is shooting like something, I want to say something close to 90% from a particular spot on the 3-point line. It's crazy. He's shooting higher from 3 in that specific spot than free throw line. Now, he's not going to keep that up for the entire season. No one will. Nor is he going to hold up his terrible free throw shooting. Shooting is variance. Like the 3-point shooting especially has a lot of variance. So, yeah. Anyways, Augustine, I would say that. I would say that, if you have an offensive system and a defensive system that's supposed to work, it's hard to tell whether it's working when guys just can't make shots.
Okay. Fair enough.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, man.
Thanks. Next, we got TT.
Hey, Robert, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, TT? Who am I today?
You're the Indiana Pacers.
You're not asking for Tyrese, are you?
No.
Because I will hang up on you. You don't have anyone that I like enough for Tyrese.
Well, actually, I think this trade is more about swapping bad situations.
Can I guess where you're gonna go?
Sure.
Are you gonna ask me for Miles Turner for Gary Trent Jr.?
Yeah, those would be the center of the trade.
Okay. I have a guy named Andrew Nembhard, and don't ask me how I know, but I know you were really, really high on him. But unfortunately, we drafted him just ahead of you, and you got Christian Koloko, who we liked a lot too. But I have Andrew Nembhard coming up, and he's been hit or miss, but a very, very good. If you caught the 33 points against the Golden State Warriors, amazing, right? Did you catch it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, he's good. Ben Mathurin has been really good. I think he's maybe, not quite as good as, sixth man of the year is making him look, but the guy's a gunner and I like him. And we got Tyrese Halliburton. Those are three guards who need the ball in their hands. So I don't know how, and by the way, I don't know if you've checked, but we're ahead of you in the standings right now. I know that people had us pegged for 13th, but we're pretty far ahead of you guys right now. So I don't know how swapping my center who shoots threes and blocks shots is going to help me, especially when I think he's a slightly better player and not that much older than your shooting guard, which is a stacked position for me. And yeah, so I think that I'm going to say no to that. Do you have anything else?
That's too bad for me.
Potentially, yes.
Would you be open to trading any of your guards?
Hang on. Let me look down my roster and just check my depth chart for a second. Bear with me. I should know my own team a little bit better than that, but unfortunately,
take your time.
I'm surprised I'm even coherent right now, guys. I spent the entire night working on that low light video, and I thought I would be able to sleep, but then I had coffee at 1 a.m. like a lunatic, and I didn't sleep. So this is me running on.
Well, while you're looking through the roster, I just want to tell you I'm a big fan of your takes. It's very fresh.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Okay, so we got Kendall Brown, Chris Duarte. Okay, yeah. I could move off of Chris Duarte. He's been, I don't know about that. Yeah, I can give you Chris Duarte. What do you have?
How do you feel about Precious Achiuwa straight up for Chris?
You have a deal.
I do that.
Really?
Yeah. I think Precious can be a really good player, but we just have too many power forwards and centers. We need guard play. We need 3-point shooting. And Chris is a pro, and he's a little older, even though he's a sophomore. So I think he will be able to catch up quite quickly to our schemes.
Give me 1 second to just confirm with my assistant general manager before I, jump all over myself here. I just want to check a couple numbers here. 1 second. So Chris Duarte straight swap for Precious Achiuwa. I get one less year on the. You know what? You have yourself a deal, 100%.
I think this would work out for both of our teams.
I am not expecting Christmas cards from you in 3 years because this will not work out for both of our teams. You got fleeced.
We'll see. maybe we'll have this conversation again in 3 years.
We will. Basketball Zone, Leo. Hey, what's up, man? Offer. Come on and offer me a Kings trade, man. Duarte not worth. I wouldn't do that trade. Duarte a lot older too. He's about 2 years older. Yes. Yeah. I mean, look. I don't like. Okay. The hand is shaken. We've got this deal. It's done.
We got this deal.
So we're sending Chris back home to Canada. Nice. Nice. And we are getting our power forward of the future. This is an incredible. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna throw a party tonight. You guys are invited.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Okay, I want to explain. Okay, I would like to understand now. Now that we have shaken on this deal and we have officially. I wish I had like one of those. You know how Raptors Digest has those like cool graphics and sounds and kazoos. I wish I had like falling confetti that I could put right now. Trade complete, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I want you to explain why you like Chris Duarte for the Raptors.
Well, I think he's quite underrated, and he's kind of buried on the depth chart with so many guards playing so well on the Pacers.
Do you find it a little bit troubling that Andrew Nembhard has basically like outplayed him so quickly as a 31st overall pick? I know that pick state. Look, this was a very weird draft. There's a lot of guys picked in the 30s that probably would go 20s in most drafts, but still, Chris Duarte is older than Andrew Nembhard, and Ben Matt, and like Ben is not like super NBA ready right now, and Rick Carlisle is trying to be competitive and win, and he's chosen to not play his 25-year-old second-year player.
Well, quite frankly, I think a lot of rookies can have a couple good months in their first years.
Okay.
Right. Chris came out firing for the first 3 months last year, right? And everyone thought he was a steal. I still think he's a really good player. Now, is he starter material? I think he's a fringe starter, right?
Are you talking about Precious? Oh, Chris Duarte. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think Chris is a fringe starter, right? And from my perspective, even though I really like Precious, the reason why I'm willing to get off of him is because we've just drafted Koloko, which has tremendous potential in terms of mending the middle, and he's also really quick his feet for a big man, right? And now understand Precious defensive potential is much higher, right?
His offensive potential is much higher too. Just an FYI. Sorry, I'm stealing your thunder right now. I'll go into my defense of this.
I think to some degrees he's really hot second half last year.
Yep, 39% from three. Yeah,
basically created this huge value bubble for him, even to this point. But I just don't think, in terms of the overall NBA circle, views him as valuable as the Raptors fan base.
Okay. Yeah, I think that may have been true prior to last year, because as you know, he came into the Raptors system as probably one of the 25 to 30 worst players in the NBA. Couldn't get minutes behind Dwayne Dedmon in Miami. But what we saw in the playoffs was a guy who could comfortably switch 1 through 5. He's the only guy on your team other than OG Anunoby who can comfortably switch 1 through 5 and has the hip mobility to get around screens. Not only that, he's your best rebounder, and it's not even close. And guys, look up. Okay, this is something I want to say. Like, I don't want to take this into an education stance because it makes me sound really like arrogant. But I do want to say, like, don't look at rebounds per game. Those are highly functional of minutes played, and don't look at rebounds per 75 only. Look at rebound percentage. That calculates how many rebounds were available for a player to grab. You will see that Precious Achiuwa is twice as good as your next best rebounder. So he is invaluable to your bench. There's a reason why, despite being dog shit on offense, he continues to get minutes. His defense and rebounding is a huge part of defense. Also, he has a very rare skill, which is he can actually bring the ball up the court. He can grab it and go. That's a huge thing for transition, especially for a team that's trying to play fast. Here's my case against Chris Duarte. Number one, forget the age. Okay, he is a little bit older. Yes, I like a Chris Duarte type in this team. I would love a guy like that, but I think we already have him. I think we already have several guys like that. Maybe not quite the shooters, perceptive shooters that Duarte is right now. I mean, I could look up his numbers for a second, but a guy who's like off ball. But I mean, like, dude, 52.4% true shooting. His shot quality is incredible. I'll give you that. So that we could use. Someone who's in the 80th percentile for shot quality is just a really smart player. And, you're basically trading IQ for upside here. Duarte being the considerably, if I could take Chris Duarte's brain and put it into Precious Achiuwa's body, like you would have a cyborg of a human being. You would have probably a fringe all-star. But that body is relevant. The age, the experience that Duarte, the advantages that Duarte had as a 24-year-old, senior, I think can't be understated. I've never seen him look like a de facto starter at the NBA level. And I'm trading you someone who has absolutely flashed that potential, to me, at least. So I'm just saying, like, yeah, right now I think Duarte might be close as a player, but I don't think in 2-3 years this is going to be close. And, for all intents and purposes, Achiuwa is a very hard worker. And Masai Ujiri is really high on him.
When you mention Chris Duarte and for Precious Achiuwa, it reminds me, if we're able to combine them together, it reminds me of Al Horford.
Yeah, actually, that's a really interesting analogy. I think you might. Yeah, I don't think Al Horford was ever as bursty as Precious, so you might have Al Horford 2.0. Duarte probably is. I don't want to say. I don't know. I've watched about 15 to 20 games of him in the NBA. I can't say like I have like the fullest grasp of him. Kind of reminds me a little bit, like mentality wise, of Shane Battier, and I guess that's in the same ilk as Al Horford. So yeah, I like it. Anyways, I personally think you got fleeced. You think you got a good deal. We can agree to disagree. Okay, how about this, guys? The comments. Let the comments decide. Precious Achiuwa or Duarte? Write it in the comments. There's 160 people in here right now on a Friday afternoon. I think we're doing well. So Precious or Duarte? Don't be homers. Don't just say Precious because he's on your team. Okay, we're getting Precious, previous, which is a typo that I make every time I try to write Precious. Okay. We got win-win trade. Noble Venom says Duarte. Giants of Africa players ain't going nowhere. That comment makes me
Giants of Africa players.
That comment makes me cringe a little bit, to be honest. But I mean, to anyone who thinks Masai Ujiri is just drafting African prospects, I don't want to go on a second rant about Masai Ujiri, but trust me, he's not. If you really thought that he was doing that, he would have drafted Jonathan Kuminga over Scottie Barnes because they were in the same range. He's not blind, guys. Yeah. He believes in drafting African prospects because, I hate to say it to you, and Leo, if you're in the comments right now, if you're watching this, you can probably back me up on this. You have like pretty solid awareness of this. There's a general mistrust around the league of African prospects. I hate to say it, but it's true. There's a sort of stereotype of can't verify age, don't know what system they came up in, there's not as much information, and so they often get overlooked. And I think that this is a market inefficiency because this isn't 1991. We have scouts all over the world, and also Masai Ujiri has just more information on these guys. He has more ins in those countries, and so typically when he targets a guy like, I don't know, like Pascal Siakam or well, not OG Anunoby, because OG Anunoby is an American, British, Nigerian player, but Precious Achiuwa, Christian Koloko, you better believe that he knew who these guys were before every other general manager. And maybe there's a bit of an anchoring bias that you have that investment, but I think, there's also a greater depth of understanding on the chart, because this thing is, guys, when you're rating out a prospect, I think one of the things is you're just finding a dot on a map. So when you look at a guy in one March Madness game, you're like, this guy's shit. But you don't know if that guy got like 100 times better over the last 2 summers, right? And that might be a really good thing to know before you say, oh, this guy can't hit free throws. Because what if he's like a 70% free throw shooter like Christian Koloko was as a senior, but you happen to know that this same guy 5 years ago had never touched a basketball and you knew what his form was and you can literally track that. I think that, to anyone who thinks that Masai Ujiri just targets African players, I think you're wrong. But yeah, anyways, TT, thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure discussing this trade with you. I think the comments seem to be leaning Precious, but it seems like there's some support for Duarte as well.
Well, quite frankly, I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, as a Raptor fan, you should hope that you're wrong. I think Precious is going to be fine, man.
All right, thanks, man.
See ya. We got SGE. Just a reminder, guys, if you have a trade, come on, call in. Link is in the description. I can put it in the comments right here as well.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you, SGE. Who am I today?
You are the Knicks front office.
I'm the Knicks?
Yeah.
I'm back home. Nice. Okay.
All right, here's the trade. It's going to be Fred and Gary for Quickly, 48, and Barrett.
And you, I'm sorry, did you build a time machine and make this like 1982 or something where I'm reasonably going to be comfortable playing with Jalen Brunson and Fred VanVleet as my backcourt?
But I think the Knicks want to be good right now. And I think Gary and Fred have proven to be good. Not like your best players, but if they're in the background, I think they can have a pretty decent record. And I think we could snag RJ Barrett for cheap. Or
there's a reason he's cheap.
You could you really think that RJ Barrett and OG Anunoby are that far apart from players for where they are in their careers at that time?
Yes.
Really?
I mean, again, this comes down to growth charts. Exactly what I just talked about. It matters to me that you're a 70% free throw shooter, but that you weren't like a 70% free throw shooter 8 years ago. Do you know what I mean? I need to see some growth. And with RJ Barrett, I'm not necessarily seeing like that growth. You know, all that frustration that Raptor fans right now have perceptively with Scottie Barnes of like, oh, he hasn't taken a leap. That's Knicks fans with RJ Barrett like 3 years later. Like it's getting there. I don't look, I know everyone's going to try to trade Fred to me, and I'm telling you there aren't a lot of landing spots. So if you're trying to trade Fred to me, I'm just going to warn you in advance. Like there are like 3 or 4 suitable landing spots for him. So think wisely. Like I'm not pairing him with Jalen Brunson. Those are 2 undersized point guards. They both absolutely need to start. I personally think, as per my analysis, Jalen Brunson's been playing balls out for us. He's younger. He can finish in the paint. Yeah, he's not quite the defender that Fred VanVleet is, and that's probably putting it a stretch, but I just think he's so much better as an offensive player, especially if Fred VanVleet can't shoot right now, and he's on a contract here. No, I don't want to pair those two. Who else do you have? I mean, if you want RJ, you want to build a deal around RJ, we're like, I mean, we're not married to the guy right now, so who do you want to offer me for RJ Barrett?
I want to get off. Oh, I want to get off Fred first off the roster.
Yeah, why am I giving you my solutions for your problems?
Negative.
Pardon?
Well, I think Fred's a negative for our roster. I think he thinks he's the man, and that ego, that hidden ego, is kind of ruining other people's confidence on the team. And I know that's like kind of deep for me to say. So I think he can help you guys, but I don't think he can help us right now. So
okay.
I do think me giving you Fred, you're going to see a shooter come back to form because he has natural competition with Brunson. I do think you're going to see, like, I don't think
a contract year.
I think 100% when Fred takes the floor with some of these younger guys, he's not incentivized to help them shine. So he holds the ball. He wants to be the star. And I think I think Fred can have what he wants, and we can have what we want if we get him off the roster.
Sorry to say it, I don't want Fred VanVleet. Wow. I mean, I like him. And if we didn't have RJ Barrett, if we didn't have Jalen Brunson right now, and or if I absolutely knew that Fred was willing to be a 6th man and just kind of replace all those backup guard minutes, I'd be very excited about maybe
interested in Donovan Mitchell. And so you were gonna put Donovan Mitchell and Brunson together. I'm pretty sure I could get the Knicks to think they could take Fred VanVleet.
There is a very big difference between Fred VanVleet and Donovan Mitchell. Number one, 6'2" wingspan versus 6'10" wingspan. I mean, that does matter. Number two, Donovan Mitchell is an alpha scorer. And I think like he's a marketable star. Look, like we in the Knicks, look, our franchise has a rich history of taking on big names that suck. Steve Francis, Tracy McGrady, right? Like look at how many no offense to Steve Francis. I know he's doing his Canada tour right now, but kind of got him a little bit late. Would have loved Houston Rockets, Steve Francis, Stephon Marbury. I'm like, there's so many guys that kind of just washed with us, right? I think Tracy McGrady had a cup of tea with us too. Look, at the end of the day, I don't think Fred VanVleet is like, he's an all-star, yeah, but I don't like his fit with our roster right now on a contract.
Who would you be interested for
I want
RJ
OG
Barrett?
Anunoby.
Okay, no, I hang up right now. Bye. You're out of your mind. I'm never trading out OG Anunoby. I'm here to get Fred off the roster, or I'm here to get Gary.
You know, for someone who wants to get Fred off your roster, you're doing a really bad job of selling him by telling him he's the worst thing ever. You want to get rid of him. Come on, approach this like a negotiation.
I think if he gets to a place where he's of people that are similar age, I think he could actually have what he wants. And
look, I honestly think that with our current leadership right now, I mean, yeah, we got a coach who's pretty hard ass, and I think Tibbs would probably like Fred VanVleet a lot. I think he's really, oh my goodness, McGrady sucked with the Raptors. I promise you, he did not. He did not suck with the Raptors. Flashed all sorts of potential. Also, FYI, he was 20 years old. Come on. What is with this fan base and throwing 20-year-olds under the bus? Can we please stop it? They're not even old enough to drink in the country they come from. All right. Now I want OG Anunoby or I want Scottie Barnes.
This is like, yeah, that's just a slap in my face.
I have a lot of draft picks.
Like there's like I'm very high on Scottie Barnes. I'm very high on OG Anunoby. I think
would you consider a package of RJ Barrett plus Isaiah Hartenstein? I solve all your center problems. Okay, bear with me. Okay, look at what I'm giving you. Okay, I'm going to give you the prospect you wanted originally, that you were willing to give up your all-star point guard and your starting shooting guard for. I will give you RJ Barrett. I will give you Isaiah Hartenstein, who just became available for trade, who is a plus. He was a plus box plus minus 4 last year. Incredible center. He is 100 times better than the guy you have starting. What's his name? Christian Koloko. Yes. And I will give you 3 future first-round picks if you give me a package of, give me Scottie Barnes and Kem Birch.
Yeah. Scottie is like a potential all-star. I can't give up.
But RJ Barrett is also a potential all-star. RJ Barrett is having a better offensive season this year than Scottie Barnes.
RJ Barrett had 6 weeks last year, like in March, where he looked like the man. Yeah, but he's no Scottie Barnes.
But he's a better shooter. He's a better shooter. He's smoother.
Scottie Barnes in the trade. I would do that for Fred and Gary, though. I mean, but you'd have to do
you got to move off the Fred and Gary stuff. I have interest in Gary Trent. I don't have interest in Fred VanVleet, to be honest, just because of the fit with my current backcourt. I have issues bringing on a guy that good to play with another guy who's almost as good and not have any superstar in my situation. By the way, guys, if the Knicks actually thought trades through this way, if they actually thought about shit this way, like the real life Knicks would be like, yeah, Fred VanVleet, former all-star. But if the Knicks actually thought shit through, they wouldn't make stupid trades like this. In all honesty, I don't want Fred VanVleet, but I am willing to.
You previously highlighted that Donovan Mitchell and Fred VanVleet are miles apart from each other, and I acknowledge that. I agree. I'm glad. You. But the difference is in the Donovan Mitchell trade, they wanted like 9 million picks. I don't even want 1 pick. Just take Fred VanVleet for RJ Barrett.
I just feel like I'm giving you a younger player that I've invested a great deal of time into.
So let's add a really shitty player to it, like Emmanuel Quickly. Stock is low right now, and then I'll even add Gary, and then I could get off 2 guys, get RJ Barrett, and I don't have to worry about some of my problems on my roster.
Are you aware that RJ Barrett is a horrible defender, and that your coach will literally choke you to death if you make this trade? Are you aware of that? I just want you to know.
They're under the same system in Team Canada, man. I think they can get along. I think they'll find a way. Nick Nurse's defensive schemes.
I don't know. I'll have to think about this one. I don't know.
Because you're going for Scottie and OG. Like, I gotta stop you right there, buddy. I gotta
I mean,
go there.
what? Okay, hold on. OG, okay. Like, I'm telling you that RJ Barrett on offense is comparable to OG and slightly better than Scottie right now. As a shooter, as a scorer, as a smooth guy, he's not that much older than those guys. He's actually younger than OG. He's a little bit older than Scottie. I don't see the big gap here. And I'm throwing in 3 first-round picks. You want 4 first-round picks? I can give you 4.
4.
3 in a swap. I'll give you 3 in a swap. Plus RJ, plus Isaiah Hartenstein. I feel like you are really underrating Isaiah Hartenstein in this trade.
This is for Scottie.
Yeah, for Scottie.
These are
Scottie and Kem.
Are these Knicks picks? These are Knicks picks.
No, these are. Hold on, I need to look at our future stable of picks. Hold on. We have some decent picks coming up.
They have to be Knicks picks.
Okay, I can give you. Huh. Wow. I have 4 first-round picks in the 2023 draft. Dallas, mine, Washington, and Detroit. But I believe the Detroit and Washington ones are heavily protected.
So I want some. Yeah, then we got okay. Yo, that's the problem. You're never gonna give me nice picks. This trade would be dead. This trade would be dead in a second.
No. I can give you 2023 unprotected. That's this year. I'll give you that unprotected. 2024 I can't give you anything because of the Stepien rule. So okay, what I can do is so for this year I can give you a protected Dallas pick. And 2024 I can give you my pick, top 3 protected. Okay, no protection. 2024 unprotected. 2025 I can give you Milwaukee's pick, protected. And 2026 I can give you my pick, top 5 protected. That's 4 picks.
Can that last pick be unprotected completely?
No.
I can't do it then. I need a chance at a guy like Scottie in return. You got to remember we got Scottie.
But you have my 2024 unprotected.
Yeah, but I do like I think you guys are. I actually think you guys. I'm actually giving you something. I think one of Raptor starters on the Knicks would propel you guys to play-in/playoff territory, and these picks are now meaningless. So.
Okay, fine. I'll give you top 3 protected. Scottie Barnes is a 4th pick. I'll give you top 3 protected in 2020.
I'll do that for OG. I'll do that for OG. Not Scottie.
No, I do not value Scottie and OG anywhere near each other right now. So you're not getting me off Scottie right now. He is on a rookie contract. No, there's a very different value proposition here. Scottie Barnes is on the 2nd year of a rookie contract. I have control over this guy. He is a considerably more marketable asset as having won the Rookie of the Year. We love that here in New York. We would actually generate more buzz money-wise. He would be a celebrity. He would be hope for the fans for the next 3 years.
You know what? I can't do Scottie, but you've gotten me to. I would do Pascal for that. I would do Pascal for that, baby.
Pascal for. You're kidding me.
That many picks. You're giving me like a package. I'll do it.
For Pascal.
Yeah, I would do that.
Okay, so let's review this trade.
One more time? Yeah, review the picks.
Okay, RJ Barrett,
okay.
Isaiah Hartenstein. I need to add way more to match salaries for Pascal, and now I'm like, who am I adding? I'd have to add Evan Fournier to match salaries. You're taking a contract basically. You might have to take.
You know what? For the pick, if you could manage those picks to be like some nice, juicy, very low protected picks, yeah, 100%. 4 picks for Pascal.
No, you get the protections that we agreed on for Scottie. But but the only difference in the trade is you're also taking Evan Fournier. Yeah? Do we have a deal?
Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett.
You get Isaiah Hartenstein.
Too, and then I get.
If you get 4 first-round picks.
And then those picks are protected in what fashion? That actually needs to be fleshed out.
You get Dallas's pick this year. Okay. they're making the playoffs or whatever.
Yeah, so
I
that's
mean,
like that's mid first round. Okay, go.
okay. 2024, you have unprotected from the Knicks.
Okay, boom. I love it. I love it.
Okay, 2025, you have Milwaukee. Who knows where Giannis is going to
Late
be?
first
Drew,
round.
it's an
Late first
aging
round.
core. They might end up, middle of
I'd
the
bank
first.
on Milwaukee. If a gun to my head, Milwaukee's pretty good in 2025.
Okay. And 2026, you have my pick top 3 protected. Knicks pick
Okay,
2020, 26.
Okay, but here's the deal. I think Murray just went to Atlanta for 3 picks. Some of them were unprotected. I think Pascal's better than Murray. I think you can get
Pascal's
away.
also old. Hold on. Pascal's also a lot older than Murray. Okay. And he's also a lot more expensive than Murray. I have to pay this guy supermax. Okay. If he makes an all NBA team, I have to be aware of that.
I think Murray's
Okay.
in for a pretty
And
good,
also,
good
he's
salary.
unrestricted. I could lose him. I'm taking a huge risk by taking this guy on. What if he hates our organization? He could leave.
Top 1 protected then.
There's what top 1 protected? No, top 3 protected. Come on, don't be greedy here.
Fine. Just give me the deal. Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay, done deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Can we please let SGE know how he did in the comments? Okay, I just want to write out the trade here. RJ Isaiah. Guys, I'm a notoriously terrible speller. I
actually don't even know. I feel pretty good.
Uh-huh. NY 2024. Evan Fournier. Okay, so just to repeat this trade, I'll hold on. I'll flash it 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. We're gonna put this up on the screen while I can figure this out and just write it out. Sorry, I'm running on a little bit of no sleep here. 2025 Milwaukee and 2026 is NY top 3 protected.
That was the top 1.
No, it's top 3.
I'm just joking.
Okay, so RJ Isaiah Dallas 2023, our 2024 unprotected pick, which is your golden asset there because you're probably banking on us screwing up somehow with Pascal freaking Siakam. Okay, and Evan Fournier, who quite frankly we're happy to get rid of him right now. Hasn't really worked out for us. 2025 Milwaukee pick, 2026 top 3 protected.
Yeah, I get a nice center. I get picks. I get a shooter, and I get like a younger prospect, and I get 4 picks. Hell yeah!
Okay, cool. Let us know in the comments who won. Just write SG. Okay, this is kind of like unfair to be honest, because this is like, I mean, I feel like I have a perceptive advantage here because I'm the host. Yeah, you know what? Just let us know. Okay, let's. Okay, so here's some comments. Who would never be able to show his face? Okay. Don't love it. We're not bad enough to tank after that, and the picks are mid-tier. Honestly, I don't think you're tanking at all. RJ is a fairly above average player. Isaiah Hartenstein, he's good. He's a starting center in the NBA, in my opinion.
Yeah, like,
he's playing 20 minutes for us.
How good do you have, Rob? How good do you have Isaiah Hartenstein?
I mean, last year he was phenomenal for the Clippers. He was a +4 box plus minus, one of the best rim protectors in the NBA, something you guys really are trying to develop Christian Koloko into. He's also a really underrated passer, incredible passer. So I think that you could unlock him into being a lot of what Marc Gasol was for you guys. I think you get a really good player there, to be honest.
Really?
He just hasn't worked out for us.
I'm actually very unaware on his game. Like I see him here and there. I don't have a big opinion on him. So, but I just
if you don't have an opinion on him, he's better than you think. Okay, OG Van Barnes. How do you call in? If you check the description, it's like literally on the screen, right? Check the description and just click on that. And guys, anyone out there being like, oh my God, what am I gonna have to download? You don't have to download anything. It's just call in. It's on your phone. Just use Chrome browser and you get right in. And then I just flash you on. Anyways, SG, I think some people are. I'm so excited to hear what Robert thinks of this trade. Honestly, I think Knicks win this trade.
I don't even know. I can't even tell, honestly. Like I felt like
Yeah, I think your draft picks are pretty mid.
yeah.
Although you are an incredible team at drafting, so I'm sure that I will live to regret it, but we are not great at drafting. We suck at drafting. So, I mean, honestly, like for us, it's like handing a division rival like 4 first round picks, but that is the going rate for a a star. We get off a contract for Evan Fournier. I think it's, I give the edge to us, to be honest. But
Where would the Raptors go with that package this season? Like what would happen to us?
I don't know. Yeah, I think
Okay.
you could be way worse because you have now a very strong reason to play a very bad defender in RJ Barrett. I think he's an interesting fit next to Scottie. I don't love it, but it's interesting. Um, I think Hartenstein is probably like the guy who helps you a lot this season if he can get back to where he was in LA. And honestly, Evan Fournier, I think this has a lot of like a low key like Rudy Gay, vibe to it, right? Where you might I'm not saying Siakam and Rudy Gay are comparable, but I think this might be a trade where you get back a bunch of like less ball dominant pieces and it unlocks something that you already have. Maybe it turns OG into a de facto post scorer or unlocks Scottie, or maybe it just like makes Fred VanVleet better or something because his buddy got traded. I have no idea, but I think it's possible that both teams could make the playoffs with this. But we are the Knicks and we love stars, and Pascal Siakam is, by our estimation, a top 15 player, and they don't grow on trees, and he's the only one available. So great, we got one.
I love your work. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna be in the comments, a lot. So keep it up, man.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. Okay, next up we got. Okay, oh my god, that's hilarious. Okay, we got Coach Mo coming up after this, but right now we're gonna talk to the name here says Fred VanVleet. Fred?
What's up? I'm Fred VanVleet. I'm Leo VanVleet today.
Nice, Leo. What's going on?
What's up, buddy? I got a trade for you.
I actually freaked out because you were like shrouded in darkness, and you kind of do look a little bit like Fred VanVleet. and it was kind of at the bottom, and I'm like, oh no, it's finally gonna happen. It finally got to him, and he's finally he's gonna lose his mind and just do it.
Oh my gosh! All right, so I got a trade for you.
Who am I today?
You're Masai, and I'm
No. I'm Masai. You're Masai.
Okay, so I'm.
Okay, fine. I'll be Masai for this one.
Okay.
Are you gonna propose a Kings package?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, you homer. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna be Monty McNair today.
This is never gonna work, guys. This is never gonna work. I would hang up on you right now.
So I'm on the verge of trying to solidify my team right now.
I bet you are.
Guaranteed top 5 team in the Western Conference, and I want OG from your team. Now I'm going to propose a very juicy deal for you that'll keep you competitive this year and give you flexibility for the upcoming
Let me guess. You're going to offer me Harrison Barnes, right?
Oh, I mean, you have to. Salary-wise, 1-year deal left.
Are you going to somehow try to squeeze Rashawn Holmes into this deal as well?
I'm not.
Okay. So you're offering me Harrison Barnes,
Alex Len.
We already waived that guy.
And Keegan Murray. That's the kicker. 2 unprotected first-round picks for Kem Birch, Malachi Flynn, and OG. Two unprotected picks. So that means I have to call Atlanta, work out a deal with them for Kevin Huerter, because that deal needs to unlock itself for the Stepien rule. So I got to give him a 2025 pick. So then that unlocks my 2023 pick. So you get 2023 unprotected, and then you get 2027, which is enticing because this is still the Sacramento Kings, and we still have a bad reputation. So who knows? In 2027, we might be awful, and that pick could be the number 1 pick.
Okay.
So that's where the incentivize comes in. It's kind of like it's kind of like what the Pelicans did with Anthony Davis and the Lakers. Like they made those, and now they may get, arguably.
So sell me on Harrison Barnes. Other than the fact that I've met him, I know that he's the highest character guy on the planet, and
Well, Harrison Barnes has a positive Raptor. He's the ultimate professional. He's a guy that's going to keep you steady. He's a good 3-point shooter. He's a good post scorer. He can do a little bit of everything. And
How is he
he's
as a shooter this year?
This year, he started off really bad, but if you look at his last, just say 12 games, he's been really good.
Dude, 64% true shooting. Why do you want to get rid of this guy?
Because I believe that OG finally gives the Sacramento Kings their third guy in this nucleus of Sabonis, Fox, and OG. Moving forward, they're all 25, 26, and I think we have a bright future, and we build around those three guys.
Okay, so let's go through this package again. OG Anunoby, Khem Birch, Malachi Flynn.
Mm-hmm.
No picks on my side.
Nope.
And you're giving me Keegan Murray,
Mm-hmm.
Harrison Barnes.
Mm-hmm. Alex Len for salary purposes. He comes off the book, so it's another $4 million there. And 2 unprotected picks.
Remind me of Harrison Barnes' contract.
He's expiring. So he's at $18 million expiring deal.
Do you have any inside information? Oh, I don't know about that. Okay.
So if he plays well, you guys can potentially sign
we
him.
retain his bird, right? Early bird rights?
Yes, you do. He's a Raptor. He's a Raptor guy, man. He's perfect there. He's perfect anywhere, but let me read you his if you want me to read you his analytics.
I don't know, man. No,
It's making you think about it. I mean, I feel like the unprotected picks is pretty good.
Is it your unprotected picks?
Yep.
Okay, I'm in.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Oh my God, I just traded OG Anunoby.
Let's do it.
Is this what it feels like to actually be Masai Ujiri? My heart just dropped into my stomach.
Well, you get Keegan Murray, who's going to be a starter for the next 10 years. His shooting is going to really elevate Scottie Barnes. It's, he can shoot from anywhere on the floor. Like, this guy is coming off double stagger screens as a movement shooter at 6'8" is incredibly difficult to get. Those guys don't grow on trees. Now, he's not the most athletic, but he's very smart. And in this system, I believe Keegan Murray can really unlock himself. And I think Scottie Barnes can make him a lot better as well.
Would you consider one final little, before we completely shake on this, would you consider taking Alex Len out and adding Davion Mitchell in?
I would, if you give me a future protected first round pick.
No, I don't like him that much. I'll give you a future second.
No, I'm good. I say no to that. I can give you, let me see.
Hold on. You can protect one of your picks, top 5. Yeah, you can protect one of your picks, top 5. You can protect your latter pick, top 5, if you give me Davion Mitchell. I'll remove that protection for you. Would you do it? And you get to keep Alex Len. I mean, if shit blows up, right? Like,
I don't like Malachi that much.
He's a better offensive player than Davion Mitchell. I'll tell you that much right now.
Oh, I know that to be true. You don't have to sell me on that. Davion just fits so perfectly into Raptor culture. No, I mean, if you give me a protected first, I'll do it.
I don't like him that much. Sorry. I don't like him protected first much, but I do like him as a sweetener in good faith. I am giving you the best player in this deal by far.
Do you like Gary Payton II?
Yes, but he's currently on Portland and not on your team.
Would you have done that? I mean, do you see those two players on the same level?
No, I think Gary Payton is better.
I mean,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
I mean, he's a lot older. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's better now. Okay.
With what though? I mean, like, better how? What did he do better?
Just as an athlete. I like him better as an athlete. It's a different type of athlete.
Davion's a freak.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Yeah.
It's something to do with the build and how he moves. But yeah, John Hamilton is asking for ask for Neemias.
Neemias. I'll do it. I'll add Neemias, the first Portuguese player ever, 7-1. He was superstar at Utah State. He's a project. He'll battle with Koloko for those minutes. Very similar type of project. Obviously, Koloko wouldn't play for the Kings either because we have Sabonis, but he's right there on the same type of level. So I'll give you Neemias instead of Alex Len. And you got the whole Portuguese community now in Toronto. Hey.
So, I mean, I feel like I did not walk into today thinking that I would want to trade OG or Scottie for virtually anything. And there's a couple of other players that I really don't want to trade at all. The reason I'm thinking about this is because I really do think that Harrison Barnes makes me very much competitive right now. I know he's nowhere near the offensive player that OG is, but I think that he's the type of stabilizing force in the locker room. And I'm a little bit worried right now with OG, with Scottie, with Precious, with Pascal. I really do think I have a lot of what I had in OG in Precious. A lot of it.
You won't lose much offensively. I promise you that.
OG has been dominant for us offensively. He's been like a fairly, I don't want to say
OG,
dominant, but
OG
very good.
in the context, but real quick, OG in the context of not having Pascal for X amount of games, Fred for X amount of games.
He was our best player. He was our best player.
Right. But right now, when everybody's healthy, his usage is going to go down. He's going to go back to playing his role. And in that role, there is no difference because Harris is going to give you exactly what he gives you in that role, in that specific role.
I feel like because of Harrison's contract, being up, I don't have him on a favorable deal. Cap spike is coming up. He's probably going to be in demand for somebody, right? I don't know if I'm going to be able to sign him. I mean, it's going to be his last payday, right? So I feel like.
Are you comfortable paying him $18 million a year for the next 3? I mean, he's
having a good year.
So you have his bird rights.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like that Thad deal, in a way.
Yeah.
So and the kicker here is Keegan Murray and the unprotected picks.
I would be honest with you. Had you guys made a different draft pick, this would be a no-brainer. Had you guys drafted Dyson Daniels at 4, this would be a no-brainer for me. Had you guys drafted, if you had talked to me at the draft, this would be like, I would do this with you. In fact, we almost did
This was the exact deal at the draft. I offered 4 future and Harrison just to match salary.
Yeah.
So
you heard about that too, right?
Yeah. So I mean, you got to give Keegan credit, though. I mean, I think Keegan in this culture as well. He's a great character guy.
But I don't love his defense. I don't love his defense.
You don't love his defense, but defense takes a little bit longer for guys, for rookies at least.
I don't think he necessarily maps out as a prototypically like plus defender.
Yeah, he'll never be a plus, but he won't be a negative either. He's 6'8". He's pretty smart. Understands angles. He'll be fine.
Okay, guys, anyone who keeps spamming Siakam plus first for Shea, I see you, and there's a reason I'm not responding to that. That's not happening, guys. It's just it's not going to happen. I don't want to hang this deal up too long.
Yep. Let you go. Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah. I'm 50-50 on this. I don't know how to part with OG. I have a lot of strong emotional connections to this kid. He's come up in our system. He's a really great guy, but Keegan Murray's good. 2 future first-round picks. But to be honest, you guys are really good now.
Who knows?
And with OG, you're going to get better.
Though.
And with OG, you're going to get better. So while I'm thinking about Kings first-round picks as a sort of like
2027 is like your money year. It's the Kings. It's still the Kings at the end of the day. You never know. Injury happens. It derails. You don't know. I think future picks have value because don't know.
They do. But in 2027, But in 2027, by 2027, if I'm terrible without OG, right, which I don't necessarily think I'll be terrible without OG, but
No.
I do think I'll be worse swapping. Right now, I think the swap hurts a little bit on
The
the win.
swap hurts defensively. You're getting a ton of shooting, which again, addition by subtraction, you're literally getting.
All right, I'm gonna stop
extra
being a homer. I said I wasn't gonna be a homer in this. I'm gonna try to be as objectively rational as possible and say yes.
All
I would
right,
do
shake
this.
on it. Shake on it. Put it on the screen. Let's go, baby.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So did we get Davion into that, or did we got
No.
Keita?
Keita.
How do you spell his name?
Neemias Keita.
Spell the last name.
Last name is Queta.
Okay. Okay. So it's Barnes.
Neemias.
Yep. Barnes.
And
Keegan.
A 2023 and a 2027.
For OG Malkine.
Yeah, I really don't care about Kem or Malachi at that point. I'm gonna go make some more trades with someone else to get a backup point guard.
Yeah, Sean Webb, that's scheme related. I hate to break it to you guys. Like OG, like hold on. First of all, I just want to say you guys can't ever accuse me of being an OG hater. He's been one of my favorite players in the NBA for a really long time. But if you think he's the best perimeter defender in the NBA, he's not. He's close. He's really, really close, but he's not one of the best defense. I feel like I have to say that because our media is just like hyping him up for defensive player of the year. He's really good. He's like I would say he's a top 3 non-big defender. He's a top 3 perimeter defender in the NBA.
Yeah, he's not the best, but I mean he's pretty good.
Really great. Indifferent on this trade. I'm buying a Kings jersey now though. It's a good trade for Raps. Fukno. Okay, sell it to me for the Kings. Why did you want to do this? Like quickly, then we can move on to Mo, Coach Mo. We're all looking forward to that.
Again, OG completes your trio of the present and the future, all 25, 26 years old moving forward. I think there's enough athleticism there. There's enough defense now, and it finally gives you that guy to go up against that solid wing that the Kings can't match up against on any given night. So,
okay. I'll tell you how I sold myself on this. Number one, I do believe that repetition counts in the NBA, and I do believe that the value of a unprotected 2027 Sacramento Kings pick is the type of pick that can completely swing a deal in the future for you if you wanted to get off that pick. So let's say in the near term. OG's injury history, you're kind of selling at an all-time high on him, and I think you're buying kind of low on the other two guys. So I like Harrison Barnes a lot, and guys, if he was playing for your team, you would not want to let him go. He's an incredible guy.
He's a glue guy for sure.
Above average defender, doesn't need the ball. I think he really fits well with Pascal and Fred. So basically, by making this deal, I am replenishing the young player I'm losing in OG with a younger player in Keegan and hoping to swap offense for defense. I like the Keegan Barnes pairing in a way because Keegan's a shooter, really smart player.
6'8".
6'8", kind of fits our what's his wingspan? 6'11", 7, around there, right?
Yeah.
I think I can coach him up to be a small, like a power forward for us going forward. I really do. I think I see him as a hybrid combo forward, and really smart kid, really smart. I want smart players with Scottie Barnes. So there's my, future. But I think that I replace a lot of what OG gives me in Harrison Barnes on the offensive end. I think I'm getting a slightly more, I would say, polished offensive player with less obvious upside. I'm taking the hit on the defense, but in order to take that hit on defense, I'm basically getting the top, the 4th pick in the draft and 2 future firsts. And honestly, if this experiment, guys, unprotected 2023 pick, guys, if this experiment fails for them somehow and they end up with a top 2, top 3 pick, it's still early in the season. There's a lot of, roulette gambling, blackjack type of thing here. If OG Anunoby goes and we find out that Harrison Barnes was the only thing holding that locker room together, you know what I mean? Like, that season could fall apart. Some team can get hot in the West. They could miss the playoffs. And God knows, if they end up with a top 3 pick, this deal is like, even if they don't end up with a top 3 pick, even if they end up with a top 7 pick, this is crazy. So yeah, I think that, you have sold me on this, Leo. Thank you for not being a homer. I hope I wasn't a homer. It breaks my heart to get rid of OG. I love OG, and I think, Scottie and OG is like the vibe right now, and I hate to do this to Scottie, but I will make it up to him somehow.
He'll love Keegan.
He would love Keegan, and I think he would love Harrison Barnes as well. And honestly, one more thing, like, I think Harrison Barnes is like a leader in your locker room. He's like, he's reserved in a way, but you've been around him, Leo. Like, is he the type of guy who would suffer like this ISO ball here? Would he say something? Do you think he would do what Thad's doing, or he's just too reserved?
He's too reserved.
Yeah,
I think the leader in the
but he's
locker
not
room
a
is
knucklehead. He is a smart player.
No, for sure.
I feel like the more smart
professional.
players you have, like, the more it influences your culture. I think OG's a pretty smart player.
So I think Mike Brown keeps it together either way. So
yeah.
That's
all right,
why
thanks,
I'm not
Leo.
worried. All right,
I appreciate it. I hate you. I'm sorry. Peace. Next up we got Mo. Is this the same Coach Mo?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Coach Mo. Who am I today?
You are actually going to be Rob.
I'm going to be Rob?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be a general manager. Rob is not a general manager.
Rob
you want to talk to
Rob Pelinka.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you are Rob. I just want to say that last trade with the Kings. Yeah. When Leo proposed that trade, I was like, he's desperate. He's a Kings fan. They finally be good for the first time in like 15 years, and he's desperate to be destroyed in the second round, and he's giving you more value. You take it. We love OG, but you take it. He's desperate.
Yeah, I love OG, but like my top
it's more
end,
value coming in. It's more value coming in than leaving.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like draft picks, especially when you guys see the next CBA, when you see the next BRI splits into whatever, you're gonna understand the value of having a potentially lottery pick 2027, having those 4 years, guys, especially when you draft as well as the Raptors do. The Raptors can find. I don't mean to like say, you can find an OG anywhere. OG is a very special player, very special person, but let's not get crazy here. If the Raptors had the 4th pick last year, they would have found OG and Dyson Daniels, and in my opinion, a slightly better prospect than OG. So we will find something with that draft pick next year. That's gonna be great.
It's funny you're talking about draft picks and the value of draft pick, because that's a segue to my trade.
Okay, what's your trade?
It sounds crazy on the surface, especially to
you want my 2027 and 2029. Can I guess where you're going?
Yeah,
I'm still your thunder.
You know where
you're going to offer me Russell Westbrook, aren't you?
Well, I'll take Russell Westbrook off your hands. You're Rob Pelinka.
Right.
Sorry. I'm Bobby Webster.
You want Russell Westbrook 2027, 2029, and you're going to give me something of value.
Yes. Well, this is the scenario. This is how I would pitch it to you if you're Rob. I'd call you and I'd say LeBron is 38 soon, next month. Actually, this month. AD is 30 by the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly you have made horrible decisions since the bubble championship.
Are you trying to be my friend right now?
No. I'm trying to save you from the mess you created. And I will take Russell Westbrook off your hands. I want Austin Reeves. I want your 2027 first round pick unprotected, 2029 first round pick unprotected, and you will get Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr. And I won't. No. That's a no, huh?
That's a no. I know how much better that makes us. I get it. And I know that the Lakers faithful will be very, very proud of us for getting an all-star in Fred VanVleet until they actually watch him play. I'll be honest with you. I don't necessarily think your boy Fred VanVleet is that far away from becoming Russell Westbrook.
I will say this about that. I know. So Fred's not playing. Fred's not playing in his ideal role with us. He's better playing off better players as a floor spacer and a secondary creator, like he did when we won the championship. And Gary's 24.
Hold on one sec.
Go ahead.
During the championship run, this elite off-ball spacer that you're trying to sell me on shot 12% for an entire series.
Yep. But I think
okay, and he's less bursty, less athletic now.
I don't think he needs to be as bursty and as athletic as he once was. And I actually think he's a better player cerebrally than he was back then. I don't think he was really that high IQ, but I think playing off LeBron and AD is like 40 and 20 this month. So the shots him and Gary are going to get are going to be better playing with superstars. And even if they are struggling with their shot, defenses respect those two. Even if they're 0 for 20, those two players get respect and they get defended. Some guy like Lonnie Walker on your team, even though he's shooting good numbers, he's not a floor spacer in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like defenses want him to shoot. I don't think defenses want Fred and Gary to shoot open shots.
I gotta tell you, like Russ has not been. I mean, let me take a look at this. I want to take a
turnaround. You know, all jokes aside, Rob, I thought you'd be the real Rob Pelinka, since you know he's been a train wreck and hopefully he continues to be a train wreck. And I'd rob the 2 first-round picks and potentially get top 5 picks in back-to-back years. You know.
Look, I mean, I know I perceptively have the reputation of being a dummy, but I have been overridden on a lot of my decisions by LeBron and by my boss and by ownership in general. Like my hands are a little bit tied here. I promise I'm not as stupid as they're making me out to look on TV. Okay, I am Rob freaking Pelinka.
Yeah. So no chance of override now. Can you send this to Jeannie? Maybe she can override you. Tell LeBron this trade.
She blocked my number. That's how dysfunctional our organization is. Really dysfunctional. She blocked my number.
You know what? I think I should call LeBron. Maybe he'll get me those 2 unprotected first-round picks.
We had a discussion. LeBron and I had a discussion. No more making trades for me in my office. We already had that discussion. I'm sorry. Can't do either. I just want to take a look at the player that I'm getting rid of here. Hold on, in Russell Westbrook. I just want to take a quick look and I mean, to be honest, Russell Westbrook has been way better than Fred VanVleet offensively. Well, I don't want to say way better, but he's been comparable.
Yeah.
Defensively, you helped me out a lot.
28% from 3.
Your boy is shooting 32% from 3. How's that that much better?
But no one guards him. No one guards him at all.
Yeah, but your guy can't. I mean, first of all, hold on. Let me give you perceptive advantages here. One, Russell Westbrook's a way better passer than Fred VanVleet.
I agree.
He's a much better rebounder than Fred VanVleet.
I agree.
He finishes at the rim, kind of comically sometimes, but he's a better finisher at the rim.
I don't know about that. They both suck at the rim. I'm not gonna lie. They both.
Okay.
I mean, Russell Westbrook is a Shaqtin' a Fool Hall of Famer.
I mean, we are talking about the 2 least efficient scoring guards in the NBA, basically, right? Yeah. We're talking about a swap. Like Fred VanVleet shoots 51, maybe after last game, 51.5% true shooting.
Fred will give AD and LeBron driving lanes because they have to guard him. Fred shoots 2-3 steps beyond the 3 when he's open and his head's right. He gives people that much space. That's undeniable.
I feel like I could get
Fred and Gary, dude. Fred and Gary on a team that's horrible shooting. Have you seen your roster besides your 2 best players?
No. Okay, fine. I'll tell you what. I will add. Okay, I get you. I feel you, and I like the fit. I love the fit. Actually, I'm going to be real with you. I like the fit of Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr. being gunners with LeBron and AD. I think I've seen some version of this sort of work before with LeBron. I'm a little bit worried because I don't have any draft picks, and now all of the players that I'm getting in this trade, I don't consider any of them blue chip young prospects. You're not giving me Scottie Barnes. You're not giving me OG Anunoby. You're giving me 2 guys, one of whom is kind of on the fringes of being a role player. I'm going to have to pay these guys too, and I'm a little bit worried about that. They're both free agents this summer. So you're giving me rentals, right? These are rentals. You have to understand that. You're giving me rentals.
I'm sure they'd love to
Practice. We're talking about
I'm
practice.
sure they'd love to stay in LA.
Not the game. Not the
Yeah.
game. We're talking about practice. No, we're talking about rentals. We're not talking about 3 years solid contract plus a pick. I feel like I can get a better deal. There's a lot of hype around how incompetent I am at my job, and those
Mhm,
2027 and 2029 picks have a lot of value, I think.
mhm.
Russ is a huge expiring. So I believe here's my counter to your counter. I like your guys. That's great. I don't like their contract situation. I don't like the idea of giving up unprotected firsts when my organization is built currently around a 30-year-old who didn't touch a basketball for 4 months. Y'all know something about that, I'm sure. And a 38-year-old who's going to retire very soon. Is just, I feel like those draft picks are going to be really good, and I'm going to look really stupid, and people are going to hate me for a long time. So I reject this unless I can put heavy protections on those.
And what is heavy? What's heavy?
I would want lottery protected 2027, and no, I would want top 7 protection 2027, 2025, and lottery protection for 2029.
Okay, so I think Fred and Gary as a package, because Russ is negative value.
I don't think so. Russ is. I mean,
Russ is negative value.
What's Russ's contract right now?
47 million expiring. 47 million expiring.
That's not a negative value. That is a huge
That's
opportunity
a
for a
giant
team.
number. No, I'm saying that's a giant number. So you
Yeah,
have
but
to,
the-
you have to
but-
send something back.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but I'm giving you 3 positive assets. I'm giving you a massive expiring, which could easily, by the way, be offloaded to a team looking to free up cap space this summer, who's trying to get off a couple bad contracts, maybe, to some considerably more serviceable players than Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr., no offense. And maybe that team doesn't want all my draft picks and isn't being too fussy about these things. I don't think you have much of a market for these guys. I'm sorry, I'm calling your bluff. I don't think you have a team that's lining up to get. I understand Gary has some value because he's 23 years old and he's shown some flashes on defense. And I understand Fred has some value, but any team that's trading these guys has to agree to pay them a combined, I'm guessing, about $65 million.
I think,
and I don't know if Fred VanVleet's worth.
I think they'll be cheaper in LA. I think they'll like it in LA, and I think there's more. What do you call it? Like they can make more money off the court in LA, being Lakers, than they will in other markets. So there's the recoupable being a Laker.
I don't know. Let me know in the comments. What do you guys think here?
By the way,
Russell Westbrook in the Raptors locker room with
first of all,
Pascal
he would never play. If I'm the Raptors, he'd never play.
You would waive him.
Yeah, he'd never play.
Oh God. So you're basically trading Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr. for
Austin Reeves and 2 future first-round picks. And my logic for this is simple.
See, I feel like we're both making a bad deal for ourselves. Like I feel like if I take this deal from you,
I don't think I'm doing it bad for the Raptors. I think. Do you know why I'm doing this? When the playoffs happened against the Sixers, and obviously Fred was injured, so you have to take it with a grain of salt, his performance, and Gary was sick, so again, grain of salt with his performance. But when we fully actualized 6-9 for the games, like 3-4, we actually did it, because right now we're half-assing 6-9.
Mm-hmm.
And when Scottie came back and we did our thing, we won games.
So
and what's it called? Maxey doing whatever he wanted, completely stopped because he couldn't take advantage of hobbled Gary and Fred, right? Who he can score and shoot over. And James Harden couldn't find Gary to pick on, because we all saw he was picking on Gary.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll do this deal with you if you allow me to protect both picks. I'll offer lighter protections on it.
Okay.
I want a top 7 protect my 2027 and top 5 protect my top 20 my 2029.
What happens if those they fall?
So in the next year it conveys the protection goes down to Well, hold on. How would that work?
Because
Stepping
the way
rule.
this works is the protections get lighter and lighter until it becomes unprotected.
Yeah. But how does it work for a team that doesn't have their pick for that subsequent year?
I think these are the 2 picks they can trade because these are the ones furthest down the line. So every year that goes by, another draft pick opens, I'm pretty sure, right? There's like a
Right.
limit to how far you can trade a pick.
Okay, so basically it will convert to unprotected after the protection. If the protection is exercised, it
Yeah.
would convert to unprotected. The
I
next
just want to say this to Raptors fans. It sounds crazy to basically trade our starting backcourt for future first round picks we may never see for like 8 or 9 years, right? But I want to fully actualize 6'9". There's something going on between Scottie and Fred on the court and maybe even off the court. And I think so highly of Scottie that I want him playing at his best mentally. So I want to put the ball in his hands. And there's something about Fred where he walks and talks like he's Steph Curry on the Warriors or he's like Giannis on the Bucks. He has this bravado and the way he speaks to reporters, it rubs me the wrong way. Like, dude, you came off the bench on the championship team. I know you started in the second half. Also, I want to see what we have with Doughton, Delano, Flynn. It kind of forces Nick Nurse to actually play players instead of his favorite pet 40 minutes every single night. I think it opens up the offense a little bit more.
Now that you mention all those lovely things about Fred VanVleet being a locker room cancer, I just love to have him.
I don't think he's a locker room cancer. I think we created a monster, and when he gets to LA, he falls in line because LeBron, AD. He's not.
You know what? Okay. You know what? I will take this deal if you agree to the protections.
And as long as at some point they're unprotected.
Okay, done. I basically maximize. I have currently a top 5 player in the NBA in Anthony Davis.
Yes.
I have a top 10, 12, 13 player and probably top 10 player. I have 2 top. I just gave myself an actual championship window of 1 year.
Yes. And also, Raptor fans, these picks can be traded as well. So if something like KD shows up, we can swap Pascal and just throw in some of our picks, some of the Lakers picks.
But that effectively means that you would have traded Pascal, Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr. For KD.
I know,
which is probably a deal that's probably was available to you this summer. So why not do it then?
But I think they would probably value the future picks more.
Well, by the way, guys, I mean, I have talked mad crap about Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam, and now you callers have made me take these guys onto my team, trade for them. God, this community is backlashing against all the Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam slander. I'm sorry, guys. I appreciate it, Mo. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And as always, nice talking to you. We got Sam up next. Sam, thanks for being patient. By the way, guys, anyone else want to call in? We probably have time for just one more after Sam. I'm going to post the link here in the description. You can just call in with your phone or whatever. Okay, Sam, tell me, who am I today?
Can you hear me first of all?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess you're being Jeff Weltman as well as the Indiana Pacers GM, who I don't know who that is. So
I'm both GMs? You're doing a three-way?
Three team, yeah.
Okay. Is there any way we can get your audio a little bit cleaner just for our listeners?
Is that any better at all?
It's a little bit better. But give me your trade.
Okay, so we got Buddy Hield, Miles Turner, and TJ McConnell coming from Indiana to Toronto. And then going to Indiana, we're sending Gary Trent, Kem Birch, Malachi Flynn, and our 2023 first. It's quite a bit of stuff here. So,
okay, I got to write this down. Okay, so tell me again.
So coming to Toronto, Buddy Hield, Miles Turner, and TJ McConnell.
Buddy, Miles, okay, and TJ, okay.
And then going to Indiana, we have Gary, Kem, Malachi, and a first.
Gary, Kem, Malachi.
Specifically 2023 first. And
You're
then
giving up. Is it an unprotected first from Toronto?
yeah, because I think you need to give Indiana some like upside on that pick, but then as the Raptors, you're kind of betting on bringing in all these guys is gonna
Right
boost
on.
you back
Okay.
into where you
Yeah,
want to
sure.
be. Yeah,
Okay.
and then we'd be sending Fred to Orlando because I think the thing is their young core's like really starting to grow, and they could see some potential in bringing in like a leader and a strong guard, and then coming back, we'd either want Wendell Carter or like Bol, some sort of center there, and then also Orlando would
You're
send
not getting
protected
Bol.
first.
You're not
So
getting
then, yeah,
Bol.
maybe Wendell then, and then send protected first from Orlando to Indiana.
Protected first from Orlando to Indiana. So Indiana
So
makes out with 2 firsts.
yeah, as well as Gary, and then Kevin
Okay.
Malachi kind of throw-ins there.
Okay, let's see. So if I'm Indiana, I'm getting Gary, Kem, Malachi, and 2 firsts. Is it Toronto unprotected?
Yeah. So Toronto's unprotected, and then I was
And
thinking
Orlando is how protected?
I was going 2025 top 10. So it gives Orlando the like if they're looking at their like growth potential, they would see themselves probably in the back end of the playoffs by then. And Indiana could bet on Orlando kind of failing as they have for the past 10 years.
Okay. And Toronto gets Buddy Hield, Miles Turner, TJ McCollum, and Wendell Carter.
Yeah.
So for Toronto outbound, it's basically Fred, Gary, Kem, Malachi.
And 1 first.
It's hard to be both GMs at the same time. Does someone want to come on and be a second GM? I would implore you, Leo, if you're still watching, be the second GM. I feel like it's really difficult to be 2 GMs at once. It's not because my brain can't process it. I am like fairly capable
Like, yeah,
of it.
you
But
have to look at what you want.
it's hard for me to negotiate against myself. I feel like I'm negotiating as one person. It's really difficult. I'm gonna post it here. Somebody volunteer to come on and be this person.
And then I also like it was kind of a throw-in thing for Toronto because I feel like we are giving up a lot with Fred, Gary, and a first. So I was thinking, I believe that Orlando has it's either the 2025 pick of Denver or 2024. So I would do a swap there with Orlando. So I'd swap.
So I see the value of Fred, right? I do in Orlando. It makes sense, but I have a glut of guards. I have Cole Anthony. I have a glut of guards that I believe in here, right? Jalen Suggs, right? Hasn't shown me much of a lick of offense, but he's been great defensively. I have Cole Anthony. I don't foresee myself playing Cole Anthony and Fred VanVleet together. And I have Markelle Fultz, former first overall pick. I like him. He's been good. I think if all things work out, maybe, I see an off. Like, I could see it. Yeah, I could see a Fred, but I don't feel like I'm getting rid of the things that I want to get rid of if I'm Orlando. Like, you're taking Wendell, which I don't care too much about right now, and you're taking 25. Like, I'm not giving up much.
Yeah.
But I'm adding a guy without giving up much, and I already have too much.
So like, I would consider I don't think they give up Cole in this trade, but I think Fultz could work as a 6th man in Toronto for just like the bench playmaking and everything, just having someone solid. Obviously, the injury concerns is a big deal. And I think if they weren't moving Fultz, they'd be betting on this as like Fultz is always hurt. We need a solid like 2-man point guard lineup. And I mean, coming out of the draft with Suggs and Barnes, the whole thing was Jalen Suggs and Fred VanVleet were going to be the new Lowry VanVleet backcourt, which obviously I thought was dumb, but I think they could see that vision too of those guys playing together.
Yeah. How are we having nobody willing to volunteer to be Indiana? Come on, someone be Indiana or Orlando, guys. Come on, make this fun. This is our last trade. We're gonna make this our last trade. This is gonna be our closing trade. Let's just somebody come on. Yeah, come. Like, Leo, you already made away like a bandit with OG Anunoby. Let's see if you can get lucky twice again. Yeah. I don't know. If we can't get somebody else on because everyone is just like, I don't want to be one of these other teams. can we restructure this as?
Yeah, so one thing I was looking at after I made the trade initially is for some reason in my head I thought TJ McConnell could shoot. And then I looked at his numbers, TJ McConnell can't shoot. But I know he's really solid defensively and just a solid like kind of backup floor general. So I still do like him.
Okay,
but
we
I'd
got
be
Gil.
willing-
We got Gil here. Gil, who do you want to be? Indiana or Orlando?
I'll be Orlando.
Great. Okay, perfect. So, do you remember the framework of the deal?
Yeah, essentially, he offered Wendell Carter and a protected
2025 top 10 first, and you're getting Fred VanVleet back. That's your end of this.
Yeah, that's not going to work because we just got too many guards. I would want from the Raptors. I would want one of their wings, like possibly. Let's see, a combination of Otto Porter and Delano.
I think Delano could get worked into that, but I think that's a major overpay. If Raptors fans looked at that on paper and you say you're giving up Delano Ban, Otto Porter, and Fred VanVleet, and what you're getting back. Say we made this a 2-team trade, and what you're getting back here is Wendell Carter and a top 10 first. Even though that first in this case is going to Indiana, I'm just looking at purely on a two-way value. Like that's
you wouldn't be able to match salary. You would need a filler there.
Yeah, I would throw in a guard. Like we have too many guards as is. I would probably throw in a Markelle Fultz in that.
I would do it. I would do it if it was Cole.
No, we wouldn't do that.
Hold on, just so I'm clear, as Indiana, just kind of sitting aside, waiting to be frozen out of this deal, which does happen sometimes, guys. I'm just trying to understand. You both value Cole Anthony over Markelle Fultz?
Well, I think it's just the injuries purely. Like Markelle, like I've given him that chance even after he got injured the first time, even after he had that nerve damage, and he still is just, even the game against the Raptors, you saw him go out with his ankle. He did come back, but still he's just so like, you're always so worried about it. And I don't think we need an injury.
Sam, what are you trying to do with this Raptors team right now? I want to understand the rationale right now for you. Like, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get Wendell, I'm assuming, to shore up your center position. You're trying to get rid of Fred, I'm assuming, because I don't know, you're frustrated watching him play. You're not worried about re-signing him. What's the?
Wait, are you asking me? Because I'm the Raptors.
Sorry. Yes. No, I'm trying to ask. I'm trying to ask Sam why he's trying to get rid of Fred VanVleet.
Oh yeah, I'm Sam. So, I'm trying to get rid of Fred VanVleet because I think it's not good for our play style. I'd like to put Scottie full time at the point guard and like fully run this thing 6'9", but also you're bringing in.
Chev is going to lose his mind. The number of people who are saying they want to run Scottie at point right now, he'd be like, bro, he's not a point guard.
We can take a short-term regression.
He is a point guard.
I'm willing to take a short-term regression to let him learn because his ceiling is being a point guard. His ceiling isn't being a wing, even though he would be defending on the wing primarily. And then also you think about you're bringing in Miles Turner. Miles Turner's biggest criticism in Indiana, as far as I know, was he's 7 feet tall, but he stands in the corner. And that's perfect for us because we want Pascal and Scottie in the paint anyway.
Okay.
And then bringing in Wendell, he could come off the bench.
To be honest, guys, like I feel like what, and I as Indiana, if I'm still included in this trade, I'm getting Gary, I guess, to replace Buddy, and I.
But
I
also the timeline there with Tyrese, they're similar in age compared to Buddy, who's nearing 30.
Sure, but Buddy's been really productive for me. I think Kem and Malachi, I'm just taking filler off your roster and hoping I can do something with it, right?
Well, I think Malachi, you're really lacking backup point guards. Again, that's somewhere where I'm negotiable between Delano.
But I listen to Jack Armstrong. Sorry, no, I listen to your media members all the time, and they've told me 500 times you guys don't have a backup point guard. So apparently you don't actually trust Malachi Flynn to even play 5 minutes a night for you. Why am I, a perceptively better team, going to trust him to be backup point guard for me?
If I were Nick Nurse, which obviously is a better coach than I am, though, I would just give this run to either Doughton, Malachi, or Delano at the backup and let them go. None of these guys are going to get to where you want by each platooning these 5 spot minutes every game. And I think, especially to me, Delano makes winning plays, and I would put him there.
I would like to protest that. I would like to replace Malachi with Delano in this deal.
I would not like to do that, but I would do that in this case.
Okay, great. So we're gonna scratch Malachi and Delano. Okay, cool. I feel a little bit better about this trade now, just because I see future upside, and also Delano is fitting in really with this nice Canadian national team, that I'm building up in here with Kem, Andrew Nembhard. Are we kidding? Like, I'm gonna be the Indiana Canadians by the end of this trade. That's great. I love it. I love it. I actually think Delano fits their culture really well.
So you're good on this trade then for the two first, one coming from each team, and then those players.
So I'm basically just giving up Buddy and Mile. And
Buddy Miles and TJ McConnell, yeah.
TJ, give me 1 second to get a better grasp of these players. You guys can discuss. I need like 5 minutes just to run some numbers through my head here.
Yeah, no
Or
worries. So
1 minute.
Where are we on Fred then?
Gil?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted Delano to make that trade work, but because in terms of our team, the reason why I was more willing to give up Markel over Cole Anthony's because Cole Anthony's a shot maker, right? And a lot of the team in Orlando, I think that's kind of something that they lack at the guard position. They have a lot of guys who can, they have a lot of length. They have, Franz, guys like Ball that can generate their own shot. But Cole Anthony seems like a very natural scorer between the two. Markel, I know Markel's a far better defender, but if I can get away with, getting Delano to replace him, I think, and then you give me one of your wings, I think we can make that happen. But for Fred, no, I wouldn't touch that.
Because I think that's great. I think that Orlando, regardless of fit, regardless of anything, if you called them and you said one protected first and Wendell Carter for Fred VanVleet, I think they do that in a heartbeat. Even if they want to get rid of some of their guards, that could be done in a different trade. I don't think we want to overcomplicate getting a fourth team into here right now, but I think that getting rid of Fultz somehow or Cole Anthony somehow and replacing them with a position of need would be.
It's not about getting rid of, to be honest, because I like Markel, but I just want the fit, the fit. I'm trying to get a good fit for my team, and in terms of the play style, for us, Fred VanVleet would not. It just wouldn't make sense. It would kind of take away from our strengths in terms of the size that we got, and Cole Anthony fits the roles. I like Cole Anthony long term to fit the role that Fred VanVleet would, because to me personally, when I'm just looking at a scouting report, Fred VanVleet is more of a shooting guard in a smaller point guard's body. So I don't know how that would.
But I think that's where your team is similar to the Raptors, as in Paulo. You want Paulo and stuff to be your main. Even Franz are playmakers. I don't know if they're primary playmakers, but they are playmakers. So where you can kind of disperse the playmaking across the roster.
So is Fred VanVleet a playmaker? I don't. What do you see him as? Like,
I see him as a playmaker who's in the wrong system. I think he doesn't see passes and things the way he should, but I think put in the right system, put around the right guys where he feels like he has a little bit more freedom. I think that if he stops someone kind of just needs to get to him. I think that Nick Nurse has so much of a homerism, just like we do as fans with his older players, that he kind of turns a blind eye to things. I don't think that Fred VanVleet is being told the things as much in the locker room and by the coaches that all the fans seem to think. And I firmly believe that, or else I think he would change his play style and things like that. And I feel like that could happen in Orlando when he understands that he's primarily there to help develop these guys into stars, and I think he'll fill that role a lot better.
Okay, guys, I hate to throw a curveball to you, but I talked it over with my star player. He has vetoed this trade. Tyrese is not having it. He thinks that Miles Turner is his best teammate, regardless of the potential that Ben Mathurin and everyone has thrown up. The analytics love Miles Turner this year, and so does Tyrese. And Tyrese and Miles have unlocked a bit of a chemistry here. I think Buddy Hield is a lot better than you probably are giving me credit for. I think he's one of the better offensive players in the league. I've seen him do some pretty incredible things this year. I don't know if I want to buy on the idea that my team is ready to make a splash in the playoffs, but I think we could be sneaky. I think we have a top 15 ish player in Tyrese. I know some people might consider that crazy, but I'm a pretty big stats nerd, and I think he's there. And I think I have a lot of youth. And Miles Turner's 26 years old. He's in his prime. I'm out. I don't want first round picks. I'm ready to build now with Ben and Tyrese. So I unfortunately this does not work for me anymore, guys. Sorry, I pull out. Unless you're willing to take like something completely different from my roster, I just don't want to part with those two players.
Well, I mean, that's the two things that the Raptors need. They need shooting and they need a 3-and-D big man. So that's
No, I
primarily
understand that
it.
you're getting exactly what you need out of this,
Yeah.
right? And you're giving up like what a 2023 first, which if you get these guys, right, that pick is going to be in the 20s for me.
Yeah. So
Right. So it's not
where are
really
you
high
on picks
value.
then?
I'm
Because
basically giving up two extremely good players in Buddy Hield and quite frankly, without those two players, I'm a lottery team.
okay, so what I heard this summer was you were willing to take 2 firsts and Russell Westbrook off the Lakers for those same two guys.
But the
So
quality of picks in that Lakers package, and
Mhm.
also I am feeling a little bit different about my team right now than I was this summer. I've seen two very young guards pop for me, right? I have another guard that I drafted in the late lottery last year. I'm not sure where where Gary fits in this scheme. I don't necessarily trust him as a shooter, the type of shooter that Buddy is. So I'm out, guys. I'm out on that one. Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Since there are no more callers, if you if you guys want to settle on a trade very, very quickly, do you have a deal?
I have no interest
Well,
in Fred, so if you wanna talk about any other player, then that'd be great.
I
Okay,
can
we have
swing.
we have three guys here who seem to really understand the game. We can have some of the comments. We have a couple of comments here. Let me just pull up an interesting. So this is our trade has fallen apart because I threw the curveball, right?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think realistically, I think Indiana would consider this because I think they want to line up. I understand Miles Turner isn't old, but his timeline isn't 20 years old with Tyrese.
Yeah,
And
but you
also
don't have to time everybody up on the same age. I mean,
Mhm.
and not every team building philosophy is the Houston Rockets, right? Like you can,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I also think
Here we go. We got a trade here. Fred to Houston for Tari Eason and Eric Gordon. Who's playing who here? I will happily be. No, I don't want to be anyone in this. Because in one case I'm like trading Fred VanVleet and I'm going to be way too emotional about it, and one I'm going to have to trade for him for the second time. I don't want to do that to myself either.
I'll be Houston because I played Toronto last time.
Okay. You're Houston. This is a
So
simple trade, yes or no? Who
I'm
says
gonna
no?
say no. I don't see why I need a ball dominant point guard next to Jalen Green. The only benefit I could see is Jalen Green is not a winning player. Fred VanVleet at this current moment is not playing winning basketball, but in the past, like over a larger sample size, he has been a winning player, and I think that's one thing that he could rub off
How are
onto
you
Jalen
arriving
with.
to the conclusion so soon about a 20-year-old player who's dropped 30 points for you several times and has been really big in huge wins against really good teams? How are you coming to the conclusion that he's not a winner because you think he's too ball dominant?
Well, I watched this team when he's not playing, and it was almost like very like watered down example. But
Okay.
in a way, you remember in the 2019
Mm-hmm. Did we lose Sam?
Yeah, I don't hear him. I don't know.
Sam, Bueller. Okay. We still have Gil and I here. Oh my God, this is.
I think personally, just to pivot off of that trade that the fan proposed, I think Fred would be good in a situation like the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could see him on that team. I don't know what they would give up.
Clippers?
Yeah.
I guess that a lot of that depends on how Kawhi and Fred feel about each other, right? I don't know how good Kawhi feels about having to carry that guy through the Philly series. Like I would be pretty pissed. Yeah. To SP, yes, I am doing a post game tonight. John Hamilton, Pascal to Denver for Murray. I mean, if I'm Denver, I
would never do that.
I would probably say,
Do you guys have me back here?
Yeah, Sam, you're back.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I don't know where Denver is on Jamal Murray right now, but after like the last I saw him fully healthy was the bubble, and he was like on the cusp of becoming a top 20 player. He was dominant as hell. I've seen him in the playoffs. I've seen Siakam in the playoffs. My guy's younger. Your guy's a way better defender. I don't know how I feel. I guess it would have to depend on the fact that for all intents and purposes, my best player this year has been very Siakam-esque, which is Aaron Gordon, and I already have Nikola Jokic. So I'm kind of like, where do I slot Siakam? He's not a shooter.
Yeah, the fit.
I feel like the fit is really weird for me.
Yeah.
So you would have to make this like a very different type of package. Like you would have to give me OG and Siakam, and then I can give you Eric Gordon and Jamal Murray. I would do that. I'll probably add picks to it too. Something like that.
If I was the Raptors, I don't know. I'd have I mean, Jamal Murray's really good. We all know what his actually no, we don't even know how good he can be. We saw glimpses of it. But losing a guy like OG that is such a elite level defender, and Pascal, who's I think he's a really good player. He's for me in the 15 to 20 range, right?
Me too.
And I don't know. I don't know if Aaron Gordon, if that closes the gap too much, but yeah, that would kind of. What do you think of like Bones Highland? I like him a lot. Like, do you think it's possible to get him out of there?
We like, I mean, I don't know if I'm playing Denver here, but I think Denver likes him a lot. I think Denver likes him. He's not necessarily getting as many minutes as he was last year, but that's to be expected. I don't know, man. Like, I think we kind of, I think Jamal Murray is a really essential piece for us. I don't see anyone replacing him necessarily. I don't see him as necessarily a point guard or a great defender, but I just think the fit between Jokic and Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. I really did set this up to work as a tandem, and I haven't really ever been able to see it. So I feel like, yeah, in theory, Siakam is the best player in this deal by far. I think, like right now, health, all things related. I just worry about his fit with Jokic because I haven't necessarily seen him move off the ball a lot. But, again, Aaron Gordon, Siakam, Jokic. I'm not moving Aaron Gordon to the bench. He's been awesome for me. So I'm a little bit concerned. And I don't know if either one of those guys can shoot well enough to space the floor for me. So it's a little bit of a weird situation.
I think that's an easy no for Toronto.
It should be.
Because like you're just looking like, obviously fit matters in trades, but Jamal Murray right now is maybe in the 40-ish range, like even could say 50-ish range of players in the league. Not as peak, but coming back from this injury. And if Denver, I think, would be crazy to say no to getting like what is arguably a top 15 guy right now. Because what you say is Pascal Siakam would be the best number 2 in the league. I think that was you who said that. But or like that's his best suited role. And we
got Gary Trent Jr. for Clint Capella. Honestly, I don't understand why Atlanta would do that. I mean, you have so many guards, and you have like 4 guards who are better than him, in my opinion. And you're having problems in your offense with my turn, your turn. I want more facilitators. I wouldn't do that. Yeah, like I wouldn't do that. Anyways, guys, we're closing in on 2 hours of this. I really appreciate Sam and Gil for hanging around. This has been really fun.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, guys?
No, this is great. I enjoy talking basketball with people that know basketball. So I found your channel about a couple of weeks ago, and I really enjoyed the content. So it's really objective, and yeah, I'll be watching for sure. You have a post game show after this, right? After the game,
I do. After 9, like whenever the game is over.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling super hopeful about this game, guys. I'm sorry to tell you. I don't want to be bearish.
Yeah.
But I'm not feeling super hopeful about this. The Brooklyn Nets are on a tear right now. They're really feeling themselves. They're starting to get healthy. And the Raptors seem to be crumbling a little bit. And without OG Anunoby, like, I mean, I am a little bit worried. But I think with the okay, so here's the thing. I think Scottie Barnes is a prototypical defender for Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
If he decides to take that matchup, and I'm positive that he will, I think he's a prototypical defender. And I'll tell you why. Because one of the things I think that maybe we all as a fan base have noticed about Scottie is he sometimes has trouble getting around picks, right? He sometimes struggles on screens. You see it all the time. He gets clipped, and then he almost seems to fall over, but he doesn't fall over, and then he trails. And by that time, the guy gets like 2 feet of separation. 2 feet of separation is all any good shooter needs. So this part of his defense has really been lacking, and then sometimes recovering to corner shooters has been lacking. But his isolation defense, which is exactly the type of play style that you need on Kevin Durant, has been awesome. So if Scottie checks him, then really it's just about stopping the rest of the team. I'm sure Kevin Durant can still put up 25 to 30 points on Scottie Barnes, no problem. But I think it'll be maybe a harder 30 than he's used to. So yeah, but yeah, all in all, there's so many shooters on that team, and you're trading 2s for 3s, and I guess it just depends on whether Fred's going to decide to shoot us out of the game tonight or not.
I'm more worried about Kyrie taking us out of the game like he did last time in the third.
He was so good. You know, there are times when I watch him and I wonder if he's not the most talented player in the league.
Yeah.
You know, his just as a ball handler, like as a just in terms of one-on-one skills, like it is insane. And with the amount that we help and collapse, and we're so conscious of it, I wouldn't be surprised to find several plays tonight where you see all 5 Raptors just collapsing on him and him just kicking it out to shooter after shooter. Is Yuta Watanabe playing tonight?
Don't know. Is he? Yeah.
Well, that would be amazing. If you're going to the game, guys, I said this in the Facebook post, but you know, one thing, clap real loud. Clap for whoever you want to clap for, but just do me a favor. If you've been enjoying this content and you want to just pay me, I don't know, a favor. I don't know if you feel like doing me a favor, just do me a favor and cheer really, really loud when they say, and at forward from Florida State, Scottie Barnes. Just cheer super loud and just cheer for him. This is a guy who just feeds off the vibe and he feeds off energy, guys. So, you know, maybe if you're like me and you feel like the vibe in the locker room is down, he is 21 years old. Try to think about who you were when you were 21 years old. I was very moody and kind of, you know, I don't know, immature. He's super mature, but I was a little bit immature at 21, and I don't know how I would feel about all the locker room politics and stuff that we hear are going on. So maybe it'll just make him feel really, really great if you're going to the game tonight, that you could just cheer extra loud for him and cheer extra loud for all the young guys, man. They've taken absolute horse shit from this media. You know, that just insists on picking on young guys who really don't, you know, it's a leverage thing, right? These are long-term relationships, team struggling. Who do we blame, right? Every team has it, right? Whenever a team underperforms, we always have to throw somebody under the bus. It's kind of a part of sports culture. When the Lakers are struggling, oh, it's because Russ is a selfish, you know, whatever. Now the Lakers are thriving, it's because Russ bought in. Russ is a scapegoat, right? It's convenient, right? So it's always, and I don't like that our scapegoats can't drink in the United States. I don't like that. I want the people who are held accountable to be, you know, the guys at the top, the guys making the max dollars, the guys making 35, 40 million. I want those guys to shield their younger teammates. And I want them to do that because I want them to pay forward what their vets did for them. I want them to pay forward what Kyle did for them and what Marc Gasol. And those guys never talked about how inexperienced the Raptors were because they were starting Pascal Siakam. No one ever did that. So this is a culture, guys. So I just want you to cheer extra loud for those young guys, whether it's Malachi Flynn, whoever gets minutes tonight. There's got to be someone, Christian Koloko, when he comes in, just cheer extra loud for these guys. I mean, they're like, think about it. He's far away from home. He's traveled, you know. So it's when you start to feel the game of basketball, you start to feel these players' experiences. I don't mean to wax poetic here, but it really makes you feel for these guys and what they must be going through when they read Toronto Star headlines like, or whatever headlines like, the Raptors have no bench. It sucks, man. It's a
joke.
It breaks my heart, honestly. In a very real way, it breaks my heart to feel what those guys feel because they're not getting the minutes and they're not getting the stats and they're getting blamed for it. That's sad,
you know what?
bro.
You know what bugs me the most? Like, real quick, like,
yeah,
I'll see something about, like, I don't want to mention the guy's name, like the reporter's name, but he'll like highlight a play. He'll isolate a play of Scottie Barnes getting blown by, And I don't know if he's been watching all year, but have you seen Fred VanVleet's on-ball defense? Like
It's taking a big hit.
Like, come on, like you just want to highlight one guy.
Everyone gets blown by, guys. Honestly, ball pressure. We went through in the last stream. Go check that out. Whatever. But ball pressure is important. And yeah, some guys are going to get blow-bys. If you think that a long-limbed guy with ankle issues right now is going to be able to stay in front of De'Aaron Fox, Trae Young, you're insane. No one can stay in front of those guys. Davion Mitchell couldn't stay in front of those guys. Like, there are lockdown defenders like Drew Holiday that give blow-bys. But it's so magnified when it's Scottie because Scottie's just magnified. Everything's magnified. It's magnified when there's Christian Koloko. And I just don't understand this obsession. And, one of the first videos I made on this channel was about Fred VanVleet's leadership style. And I said, Fred VanVleet's not a leader. And it was like a bit of a hot take, I guess, because the channel was really young. And I just cut out like all of these quotes of him saying, the younger guys, we're a really young team. We're really inexperienced. And I just thought that after every loss, it was just a rant about how inexperienced. And he would be like, we just need to learn how to win. We have a lot of guys. And then there's this one particular quote, and I don't mean to turn this into a shit post about Fred VanVleet, but there's this one particular quote that just drove me insane, where he said, we have a lot of guys who, let's be honest, if it were another situation, they wouldn't really be playing. And I was just like,
what?
Yes. I mean, you can go check the video. I mean, like, someone posted, like, someone go back and look at my first or whatever and just post it in the link, and that 3 minutes it was bothering me. And I was like, this is a very dangerous road to go down, Fred VanVleet, because you basically start treating your younger teammates who you should be protecting as a leader. I've seen a lot of leaders do it, and to just kind of throw them under the bus,
I was a huge defender of Kyle Lowry for many years when the fans would pile on him after bad performances in the playoffs.
Me too.
But I'll tell you this, that guy, if his shot's not falling, he's still valuable to the team, right? Because he is a great floor general. He reads the game extremely well. There's no other big outside of Chris Paul that makes their bigs more valuable in terms on the offensive side, right? Fred VanVleet, not even close, like to the same value. If his shot's not falling, it's going to be tough for him to, help the offense, right? And we've seen it. I mean,
right.
we've seen Nick Nurse protect him and shield him, even on the defensive side. He tried, but then the other teams, they have coaches too, so they'll exploit it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't understand, like, why. Listen, I'm not trying to pile on him either. Like, I don't know the guy personally. It's not personal here. It's just basketball. Like, I don't know why he has this swagger of like a 15-year vet that's like been a multi-time All-Star. I mean, come on, Fred. Like, really, like, stop trying to separate yourself from the mistakes of the young players and the team in general. Like, you gotta, like, it creates fission, like in the locker room, and. That's the body language that I'm reading that some Raptors fans in the media are getting on for Scottie Barnes. I'm pretty sure the guy feels the same way. He's not dumb. He has a really good basketball IQ. He knows what the right plays at the right times are because he's a brilliant passer. Like, he's in my opinion, he's one of the best passers in the game, and just for the feel of the game on the offensive side. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that was the biggest miscalculation made by Masai in this era, was thinking that Fred VanVleet was going to become Kyle Lowry, and I think that's how they structured things, and that's not how it's working out.
Yeah. I don't know. It's crazy to me. We have another caller here. We have Sahil. Hey Sahil, what's up? Hey, what's going on?
Hey, good evening, man. First of all, love your stuff, love the work, and thank.
Did we just lose you, Sahil? Oh, we just had you, and
Hello.
He's back.
Hey, what's up?
Am I connected? Hello.
You are.
I'm sorry. Am I connected?
You are.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. First of all, love your stuff, man. Love it, and thank you for putting me on. Like, in terms of trade, the only idea that I have in my mind, and I missed half of the show. If somebody else suggested it, I'm sorry about that. But I posted this too, so you'll be the Nets GM. I'll be calling you, and I'll be saying, like, hey, I know Kyrie is not coming back next year. You might as well get something out of this situation, and we are offering them on our end, Pascal, Gary, 2 to 3 first-round picks depending on, like, the situation, and we are getting KD and Seth Curry. and I feel they'll help us a lot.
So I'm the Nets GM, and you're
Yep.
pitching me that right now.
Yep.
Oh, we're getting some late callers. It's like, is it because everyone's getting off work right now? That's exactly it. That's
Yeah,
what's
I'm
going
still
on
in
right
my
now.
car. I'm still in my car, man.
Oh my God, you guys are awesome. I heard somebody said that they were watching it with their entire staff. That's so cool.
Yeah.
We got Callie on here as well. Callie, how's it going? Callie? Hello. Do we have Callie here? Oh, did I? Hold on. Let me unpresent my screen here. How do I do this? Okay, remove. There we go. Okay, Callie, are you here? Hello.
Maybe he's on mute.
Callie,
Yep.
are you on mute?
They put themselves in and then they forgot about it. That's it.
He just came in. Anyways, okay, yeah. So I'm the Nets GM here.
Yes.
And
I posted this comment like 2-3 times on your videos. I'm sorry about it, but I feel like it's a good trade. It would be good for Nets because see, they're gonna lose Kyrie next year. They need something. Pascal is a really good player for them, and as you said in the last live stream, I guess so. If Pascal goes out, Fred will fall in line, and then we can have KD. Scotty goes to the point guard position. He handles the ball because KD would take care of that. That it
Okay.
happened. And like it's a pretty good deal for all of us.
Hey,
And Seth Curry.
Chaz. Do you want to be the Nets GM here?
Okay.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So you're the Nets GM.
I don't. Okay. Next GM of what?
No, the Nets, the Brooklyn Nets general manager.
The Nets GM. Okay, sure.
Okay. And Sahil, pitch him your deal. You got.
Is this a pitch deal? I was hearing some bad talk about Fred again.
Oh, and you chimed in for that, and now you've been
for
stuck.
that. But I mean,
okay.
If I'm
okay,
the
so
Nets GM, what am I looking for? A Raptor? I'm a Raptor guy. I'm not a Nets guy. So
okay, fair enough. Okay, Sahil, I'll let you know right now. You're offering me 3 first-round picks.
Yes. And like Raptors picks are really valuable to us, and we are offering it. That should be a good offer.
Yeah, but if you're offering it, I'm pretty much sure I'm getting fleeced here. Pascal, Siakam, Gary Trent Jr., 3 first-round picks.
Yep. We'll start the negotiation with 2 first-round picks and then throw the third in later on. And we can throw in Kem Birch to match the salaries because I don't care about
Kem Birch.
Yeah, okay.
No offense to Kem Birch. You know what? I'll let you know my answer before we end this live. I can't.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sal.
I'll wait for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, man.
Love your stuff. Take care.
Thank you so much. Okay, Chas, you got something to say about Fred?
Yeah, I was talking to a guy on the thread. His name's G. He may be watching.
Oh boy.
And you know who he is?
Oh boy. I've read a lot of comments.
Yeah, we went back and forth quite a bit, and he made some good points. And he said, shouldn't be all hung on Fred. Fred's. I went back and watched a bunch of bench mob stuff. And Fred did play a little bit hero ball there too. So I think it's ingrained. I think it's fair to say that Fred's got something to prove, and will always have something to prove. And he lets that take over. But I found his arguments compelling and interesting, and he had a lot of stats to back it up. So I won't quote those, but I wanted to say that
his analytics are off the chart. Yeah, I agree with that.
No, his comparison to 26 other, he's 26th in the NBA.
The exact talking post, the exact talking point. I will, however, tell you that before that last game, he was, if I'm not mistaken, 89th among shooting guards in the NBA in terms of true shooting percentage. Saying that
I know shooting is shitty. He's
but I mean, shouldn't scoring efficiency be tied to shot volume?
Absolutely.
Like saying that a guy doesn't take too many shots. Like there's a very disingenuous argument that Blake Murphy made where he said Fred's not selfish because he's never hit 24% with Siakam in the lineup usage, right? But it's like he should be nowhere near 24% usage. That's like you're talking you're starting to get into like star range there. Like you're starting to get into very dynamic passers, and it's like the fundamental issue with Fred is like we are like depending on who you are, you're going to see him very differently. If you're an undersized guy, you don't know, man, that's kind of like triggering. If I say like you're an undersized guy who doesn't really understand basketball, you're going to love Fred VanVleet. It's not that. It's just if you see this guy as like on par with like the stars, then everything about him makes sense. All the treatment, all the shots and whatever. But if you don't see him that way, then this just drives you crazy.
So here's my appeal. They got to see what's going on. They know that Fred's struggling. They know there's a lot to load on him.
Yeah.
And so it's really on the coaches and the end of this as well.
Yeah.
I mean, some of this isn't coming off as way it's supposed to come off, but all I'm saying is he made some good points. It shouldn't all be thrown on Fred. And I agree with that. Like, he's still a great ball player. He just needs to be repurposed. And you said that earlier. He needs an exorcism, whatever you said earlier.
Intervention or an exorcism. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Look, I made a video. Oh, thank you so much, Tess. I really appreciate
you're welcome.
It.
I love your show, and I just wanted to chime in. I'm not into this fantasy stuff, but I think the show is great. And the dialogue is great. And the people that are coming on you're attracting are all pretty high IQ people.
I 100% agree.
I said they should be watching this show.
Yeah.
The Raptors front office should be watching this show.
They're really smart too. Don't worry. I promise. They're really smart too.
Later, man.
All right. Thank you so much.
Connect again. Hey,
thanks a lot, Chaz. Bye. Yeah, that's an interesting point, I guess, to make. I don't know. I think people fall all over the map. I think Sam, or are you're very pro VanVleet? No, you're not.
No, I'm anti. So I've always agreed with this point. You made this point. It wasn't last show. It was a show before about Tom Thibodeau, Luol Deng, Joakim Noah, and Derrick Rose. What happened to them? Yeah. And you were talking about like this is gonna happen to our players. And in my opinion, I was watching the 2019 highlights, championship highlights last night. I watched like the whole thing, all 4 rounds. And Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam particularly look like different players. Pascal's a better player now, and Fred, you could argue, is a better player, but the way that they did things was so much different. Just their burst, their athleticism. I watched that and I was like, wow, like these players do not look the same at all. Fred VanVleet would walk by any mismatch of any guy who was 6'9" and above. Now Fred struggles to get by just like centers, you know what I mean? And I feel like that kind of regression is already happening, not something we're looking at in the future.
Right. So here's an interesting thing. I do want to, like, oh my God, like these conversations go forever because I can never say no to a comment. You know what I mean? Like I have no discipline at all when it comes to just shutting down a conversation. I don't have a heart out. Like I would do a very bad job in like TV. Like I would be like, no, come on, buy some more airtime. But in all honesty, I do have a point here that I would like to leave for the people who do make it to the end, because I do want to leave a bit of a golden nugget here, which is that spacing and how fluid people look moving through your offense are completely linked. When you like, if you look at the there's a low light video that I dropped. I'm so proud of it this morning. I mean, let me know in the comments below if you've seen it and if you laughed really hard, because I was on my shit last night. I was like, I had like a lot of energy. I had been sent like shit that people were writing about me all day, and I'm like, bro, I don't want to hear it. Like I don't care. Like I'm not gonna go respond to it, whatever. But I got really mad, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna edit the shit out of this video, and this morning I'm gonna drop a bomb. And I feel like I really hit it. But one of the things I notice when I go through the film consistently is how congested everything is for the Raptors, how bad their spacing is. And that just wasn't the case in 2019. Right. So like, yeah, Fred VanVleet may not look like he's moving through the offense as quickly. And I agree that he's lost a couple of steps, but I feel like the spacing is creating so many difficulties for players moving, especially players like OG and Scottie, because they have these like really long legs, which are really ideal for straight line drives. Like really ideal for just going in a burst. And I'm not saying that they don't have a little bit of shift to their game. They do. But like if you look at Kevin Durant, right, like it's all about spacing. But with a guy like KD's archetype, like the long legs, short torso, long arms, that archetype, it needs space. A guy like Ja Morant, he doesn't necessarily need a lot of space. He can fit into little pockets. He has that little, when you're close to the ground, you can manipulate horizontal space much better. But when you're like vertical, like you look at Scottie's proportions. He's built like a Greek god, you know, like he's just very weird athlete. His torso is so high up that it makes it really hard for a guy like that to get very shifty, especially when this paint is so congested. One of the biggest reasons that I was so high on Scottie coming out of college, and I knew that he would be a better player in the NBA. And if you don't believe me, like you're just saying like, Rob, like you didn't actually know this, there's verified proof. I've been on plenty of shows talking about this prior to the draft. One of the reasons was space. There's more space in an NBA floor. There was less space at Florida State. Every time you see him at Florida State, it's like because the three-point line is shrunk in, the players are worse, the athletes are not like, they're obviously worse, but they're just not quite like small enough to mitigate the gap that the spacing is. So like you're noticing that Paolo is doing really well in the NBA, right? He wasn't quite like, you couldn't have projected that he was going to be quite this good, right?
I was
Last
actually
year in
really
college.
low on him. Yeah, I thought that
I was pretty low on him too. I thought he was a third pick. I would have taken him
I thought
third.
he was a Julius Randle. I was like, what is this guy? Where is his ceiling beyond a Julius Randle? That's what I thought coming out of university.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't necessarily. I was pretty high on Julius Randle, to be honest. I liked him, but yeah, I mean, my point is that like that sort of like big player, the big jumbo creator, that thing that Cade was supposed to be, but he's really not. Like that is really good for the NBA if you have space. But if you don't have space, it's really hard to judge these guys fairly. So when you know, so like guys who've been critical of Scottie have been like, oh, he's just dealing with like a different defender. The second defender's coming up, and it's like, but why? Scottie's a great passer. Why is he having to deal with 2-3 defenders? It's because guys are sagging off of Pascal Siakam, who is usually calling for the ball 38, 40 feet from the basket, just standing there with his hands, like, give me the ball. There's a lot of like limited motion, and it's just like congesting everything down the middle. So unless you're like an elite shooter, it's not really creating much. And because there aren't a lot of elite shooters, and you're creating like these really funky lineups with Christian Koloko, Chris Boucher, Precious Achiuwa, Thaddeus Young, Scottie Barnes, like sometimes you'll have four non-shooters and Fred VanVleet out there. So yeah, like what Chaz was saying was like, it's not all on him. Yeah, I agree. The roster is somewhat, I want to say hostage.
Are you talking about VanVleet now when you're saying it's not on him?
I'm saying it's not all on him. Like it would be very difficult. I think like if you put Dame Lillard, who is like a way better player than Fred VanVleet at the similar style, you know, role, long threes, you know, whatever, just way better player. If you put him with four complete, you know, I don't want to say non-shooters, Thaddeus Young can shoot from the corner, but like perceptibly four not so great shooters. I mean, if you watch the Portland Trail Blazers, look at how much space Jeremy Grant and Anthony Simons open up for Dame Lillard. And, you know, like even big guys who can screen. Like there are two things that I think could really elevate this Raptors team, and all of them have to do with space. So a big who sets like really dynamite like screens to just get guards that extra, you know, quarter of a second when they're curling around. And then maybe more motion in the offense for sure, but then just better spacing. Like basically Marc Gasol. Like that's what I'm saying. You need Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol would give you the space.
I think that, like Scottie on that 1920 team, that team was what, like almost on a 63 win pace. They won 59 games in the shortened season. It's something around 60 plus. I think Scottie Barnes would look like a completely different guy playing there with Marc Gasol, with other
absolutely. Oh my God, he would be smiling every day.
And that's,
you know what I mean?
I get your point with what I'm saying there. That's part of my point, but I'm just talking about strictly the physical aspect. Fred VanVleet was putting people on an island and just walking his way to the rim and then making the right pass. I don't know why the making the right pass thing has gone away, because I was watching that and I was like, this isn't the same guy on a mindset. I think he just thinks he's the man now and that he needs to do everything and blah blah blah. I think it's a different mindset.
I've never thought that he was a dynamic passer. I just think that he was a simple read passer. Like he's basically like, you know, I don't mean to. This is not shade on Fred VanVleet. I kind of expected him to make passes that I expect Thaddeus Young to be able to make right now.
And that's
kind
the
of like
passes
that.
I think he was
Like,
making
I'm
back
not
then.
expecting Thaddeus Young to throw Arvydas Sabonis behind the back. I'm not expecting him to, like, you know, tilt his head away and do Scotty Barnes left hand, right hand, underhand. You know, he's good. He's good enough for a non-lead. Like, he's good enough for a secondary initiator is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Kyle
But
Anderson,
I
not
think
quite.
there's
But
so many. He misses a lot. Like, how many times a game? I know you specifically are looking at him drive to the rim, and you see this guy in the corner, this guy in the dunker spot, and he just throws up some wild layup. Right?
I mean,
Those are the
sometimes,
shots
you know,
that he
you
never
go
used to
into
take.
those plays and you start to zoom into them, and there's like a complete disadvantage where the lanes are blocked off so quickly for him because, you know, like when
The
you don't have
size.
that burst, right? It's a frustrating situation for him as well, I believe. It seems like almost every single podcast I run out of bad things to say about him and I start going into the complete opposite direction and start defending him. But like, this is the pendulum swing that Fred VanVleet has had me on for the last 6 years,
Well, yeah.
which is that there's good and bad. There is always going to be good and bad with Fred VanVleet. I think, you know, to some extent, there's some element of, well, it's kind of on him for not registering that he's taken a step. He's lost a step, right? That he doesn't gain the same separation as you're saying from the 2019 team. He was probably getting by, and just that getting by is your extra quarter of an inch, your extra quarter of a second. You know, that those small gaps make a big difference when you're undersized. That's why you see undersized guards like Kemba Walker. They lose one step, they go from all-star to not in the league. Like the
Yeah.
margin is so thin, guys. I heard somebody say today. I'm getting very controversial here, but this is towards the end of the stream, so I don't think anyone's going to hear this. I heard somebody say that if Magic Johnson was 5'9", he would still be a really good NBA player. No, he wouldn't. Would that athletic build? No, he wouldn't. There has to be some way for you to generate an actual advantage over the defense. Otherwise, you can't do anything. That's why they're getting Scotty Barnes to shoot. So I think when Fred VanVleet loses that burst, whether due to health, whether due to, you know, extra weight, he seems a little bit heavier to me, to be honest. Does he also look a little bit heavier to you?
I mean, yeah, I think he used to be like almost pinned in a way. He does look bulkier, but I don't think it's in a good way.
Yeah, because like when you're like already kind of like small, like I don't know how much getting stronger is helping, but he's improved a lot as a defender, in my opinion. I don't know. Anyway, so my point is, like, you know, for all of the Fred VanVleet stuff, you know, you'll probably notice if you go too far in the comments, like, you know, I'm roasting him in some of these low light videos for sure. I am, because I'm frustrated too. But I don't think you can spend this much time cutting through somebody's game and dissecting all of their mistakes if there isn't a part of you that actually does care about them.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't
Fred
hate
used to
him.
be one of my favorite players. Like last year, prior to the All-Star break, that Fred VanVleet, if that Fred VanVleet existed right now, the Raptors would be probably well above 500. But that guy isn't. Like, I hope that guy's still there, but it's been a full year sample size now where we even saw in the Philly series we look better without him. Our two biggest wins of the season in terms of margin of victory were without him. And those are things that I'm now looking at where it's like, you were never, even if Kyle Lowry went 0 for 10, you were never better without Kyle Lowry. And I think that's the biggest difference with this.
I got to say one thing real quick.
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah. So I know, we're talking about Fred VanVleet, but I think there's a cause and an effect. We're seeing the effect of his play and how it dropped off.
Okay.
But I think it all stems from, I'm going to alleviate some of the pressure that I've been placing on him and place it on management and specifically Nick Nurse. Because if you look at the team that they have constructed around Fred VanVleet and the role that they have heaped on him from management, you know, basically forcing him into the role of Kyle Lowry and guys like that, I gotta say, like, he's not built for that role. Like, his game is not conducive to that role. His style of play is not conducive to be a floor general, right? And I've joked about this with my friends. I say he's a shooting guard trapped in a 6-foot point guard's body. Like, that's what I think, right? So I don't think it's too much. Like, the reasons why that we're seeing what he's seeing, the regression of his game and his burst, like Sam was saying, is because of all those minutes that he's logged and the wear and tear. When you're a smaller guy, and you're going against bigs like that all the time, driving in. He's really reckless when he drives because he's got his head down. He's not scanning the floor. It wears on you, and I see that in his game. Like, he doesn't have the same lift. He's bulkier. He just doesn't have that explosiveness to get past. Like, he was never that explosive, but he could definitely get past. Like, his first step was really good, like in his earlier years. So that's what I'm seeing personally, and I put a lot of that on the management. So
yeah, exactly. Back to the Tom
Go ahead.
Thibodeau effect is what I think it is.
I think so. Here's how I would see it. We're always looking for the next that, right? You know how many comparisons DeMar DeRozan drew to Vince Carter when he was drafted?
Oh God.
Do you know how long
you've been watching basketball since 2016?
I was a really, really big DeMar DeRozan fan. Okay, DeMar DeRozan and Scottie Barnes. Here's a fun story for you guys. So I was a huge fan of DeMar DeRozan like 2 years before we drafted him. I watched his mixtape and I just fell in love. And I watched an interview with him. And I don't know if it's like early 90s nostalgia, but I have a bit of a soft spot for anyone who comes from Compton for some stupid reason. I have no idea why, but it's like a cultural thing. And I was just like, wouldn't it be cool if this guy got drafted to the Raptors? And so I started prophesizing this like a year before it. And I started to every year, you would download the NBA 2K draft, the user created draft. And I would always draft DeMar DeRozan to Toronto all the time. DeMar DeRozan to Toronto. I got so obsessed with the idea of this prophecy of DeMar DeRozan to Toronto that I posted a picture of my super terrible looking DeMar DeRozan creative player, dunking over some dude. And I was like, it's gonna happen, guys. And then we actually drafted him. And I was so happy. I was probably his biggest fan in Toronto, but let me tell you, at no point should he ever have been compared to Vince Carter. He wasn't that. Funny fact. So I thought in 2019, somebody released a 2021 draft, and there was a 17th or 18th ranked forward in that draft whose name I recognized. And he was apparently going to go to Oregon at the time, and that was Scottie Barnes. And I loved this player. So I was like, 2 times a charm. So I started doing it as a ritual. Like every single, I have pictures of me doing this. I have game film with timestamps from 2019 of Scottie Barnes on the Raptors all the time. And usually I would also trade up for another pick to get Evan Mobley. So I would prophesize this idea of like Scottie Barnes will be a Raptor. Scottie Barnes will be a Raptor. If I ended up GMing for another team, I would draft Scottie Barnes to that team. Plus maybe I would get Evan Mobley on that team or somebody else. And I just find it so hilarious that on draft night, I don't know if any of you guys have heard the story of the Scottie Barnes fake out. No. Okay, so the entire pre-draft, I'm like convinced that we're getting Scottie. Everything I'm hearing is they're really considering Scottie. I'm just yelling to Raptor fans, like, come on, just get ready for this. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I messaged him 6 hours before the draft. You're coming to Toronto. Please tell me you're coming to Toronto. And it's 5 minutes before the draft. The pick goes off, pick number 3, and my friend who is an agent who would know absolutely. I mean, he didn't know, but he would be someone that if he told me, I would trust it.
Yeah.
And he said he wrote me a text message, said, "Sorry, Rob, it's going to be Suggs." And I honestly I fell to the floor. I was so heartbroken. I went outside and I had a cigarette. I couldn't even deal with it. My girlfriend's like, "Are you coming back?" And I'm like, "No, I can't watch this. I can't watch this." I was almost, to be honest, I was almost in tears. I hated the idea of drafting Suggs here. And then he texts me back. He's like, "JK, it's gonna be Barnes." And I ran back in, and it was the funniest thing ever. And I got in right as he went, like right up. It's like, with the 4th pick, the Toronto Raptors select, and he's like, "JK, it's gonna be Barnes." Scottie Barnes. And I was just like, and then he gets up and he's like doing the hype, like the super, with his mom and his friend and everything, and his family's going nuts. I don't know if anyone has ever seen the video that his dad and his aunt took, like from the balcony, and everyone's just like, I'm not kidding. The entire arena erupted when he erupted. It was crazy. Like, people were like, "Yay, great, Scottie Barnes." And then he gets up and he starts dancing, and suddenly you start hearing people say, "Hey, hey, hey," because they had never seen a top 4 pick do that. And I felt like I just celebrated that moment with him, because for a moment it got snatched away from me and it almost didn't happen. Yeah. Anyways, that was my little story about my draft day fake out of Scottie Barnes.
It was so great to see how pumped he was. Like he just got up and did a fist pump. And I was just like, there we go. That's a Raptor right
He
there.
really wanted to be here. I know there's some people who they say stuff, silly people. Every time I say some people, I feel like I'm referencing one person right now, saying like, oh, Scottie might not like it here. Scottie loves it here.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen Scottie in the winter, sometimes you see him. And by the way, I'm the same way. I don't wear pants in the winter. Fun fact about me, I wear shorts all the time. See? Shorts. Like, I can't show you. Shorts. Like, I wear shorts all the time. I don't wear a jacket. I'm like, it's just how I am. So he's like that too. He's not someone like Kawhi who's like staying in his hotel because it's cold. Like, he like embraces all of it, guys. Like, he's, oh my God. Like, when have you seen a top 4 pick just walk around in a scooter and hug everybody on the streets and like just take pictures with everybody? If you've ever seen him with like normal fans away from like the cameras and stuff, he doesn't change one bit. He'll sit and have a conversation with you. He's the coolest person.
I'll
so
tell you what, like,
what's up?
The week before the draft, I was watching like YouTube clips of especially his draft workout, like his official. I think Draft Express did it. I don't know.
Yep.
And I kept hearing about Scottie Barnes because I'm not, full disclosure, I didn't follow college basketball too much his draft year.
Yeah.
So I was, going with the mainstream thought, oh yeah, we're gonna get Suggs, Kyle Lowry replacement. So when I saw his highlights and I saw some of the like the weaknesses of his game, they say he can't shoot. He's not a shooter. He's not a natural shooter. And then when I watched that Draft Express, and I'm not going to take too much out of it, but when I watched his mechanics and I saw like his ability, I was watching him very closely in terms of his shot, right? And I was like, you guys are telling me this is his biggest weakness? Like I'm willing to bet, like, with our development and the coaches and his work ethic, that he's going to become a pretty good shooter. Because I remember, like you said earlier, DeMar DeRozan, he was not a shooter in college, okay, and he became a pretty decent mid-range shooter now, and now he's elite mid-range shooter. So I said, you know what, if that's his biggest weakness, I'm willing to bet on him 100%.
Yeah. Honestly, okay, so there's this lady, I believe her name is Marge. I was pushing the Scottie Barnes media like propaganda for Rookie of the Year really hard last year. I made like a bunch of clips. I set a montage of him to Michael Jordan talking, Kobe Bryant talking, vote for 4, vote Scottie Barnes, all that stuff. And today she said, you know what's going to be my new sign? Because last year she went to the game with a sign, vote Scottie for Rookie of the Year. And she said, today my sign is going to be bet on 4. And I was like, can I use that? Bet on 4. As opposed to bet on yourself, it's like bet on 4. Man, if enough people could get that sign up at the Scotiabank Center, just hashtag bet on 4. My God, that would be so cool. Anyways, guys, this has been so cool. And I feel like if we talk anymore, we're just going to go right into the game. We're going to talk right through the game, and then we're going to have to live stream the game. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah,
but,
true.
This is awesome. I really loved it. This was like a cool hang with friends. Thanks a lot, Sam and Gil.
Thank you. This was awesome. Enjoyed myself very well.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I hope to be back.
Absolutely, Sam. Thanks a lot, Gil. Cheers. Enjoy the game, guys. If you guys are going, remember, cheer hard. And yeah. All right. Take care. And we're out. And anyways, last note, guys, if you haven't checked out that low light film, I promise it's really funny. It's a little bit serious because it is basketball content, but I put my heart and soul into it. I haven't slept, and I really just, I don't know, I think it's a response to something right now. So please do share it. If you can, share it. If you like it, watch it twice. I don't care, but enjoy it. Yeah, talk to you later. Bye.